Introduction: The Tyranny of the Straight Line. We live under the yoke of a dangerous and exhausting illusion, the belief that life should be an upward straight line. Since we can remember, society has sold us a flawed treasure map. They tell us that success is constant accumulation, that happiness must be permanent, and that growth is an arrow that always points toward the sky. They convince us that, if we do things right, tomorrow we will be better than today and the day after better than tomorrow, in an infinite progression toward the sun. But then, reality hits. A day comes when, for no apparent reason, joy evaporates. The business that grew non-stop stagnates. The relationship that was pure fire cools down. Motivation disappears, and you find yourself in an emotional desert. And then panic sets in. You think, what have I done wrong? Why have I gone backward? Have I lost my power? You punish yourself. You work twice as hard, swimming against an invisible current that drags you back. And the more you fight, the more you drown in the struggle. This book exists to tell you just one thing. You have done nothing wrong. You are simply alive in a rhythmic universe. You have collided with the law of rhythm, the immutable principle that governs everything from the rotation of galaxies to the beating of your heart. Everything flows and ebbs, everything rises and falls, everything has tides. The universe is not a linear factory. It is an immense pendulum. The measure of your swing to the right, success, joy, expansion, is, inevitably, the measure of your swing to the left, failure, sadness, contraction. We suffer not because life has its downs, but because we refuse to accept them. We want an eternal summer, ignoring the winter. We want an eternal summer, ignoring that winter is necessary for the earth to rest. We want to inhale forever, without understanding that if we do not exhale, we die. In the pages that follow, I am not going to teach you to stop the pendulum. That is impossible. It would be stopping life itself. I'm going to teach you something more powerful. I'm going to teach you how not to move with it. I'm going to give you the ancient hermetic art of neutralization. You will learn to stand still while the world turns. You will learn to use the downward swing to propel yourself and the upward swing to stabilize yourself. You will cease to be a leaf in the wind and become the conductor. Welcome to the reality of cycles. Welcome to the law of rhythm. This is the moment where you reclaim your power over the tides of your existence and find the peace that remains in the center of the swing. The secrets of the ancients are now in your hands to navigate the great currents of the universe with wisdom and sovereign mastery. Chapter 1. The Invisible Pendulum. If you keep absolute silence and place your hand on your chest, you will feel the first teacher of the law. Boom, 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 boom. Your heart is not static. To keep you alive, it must contract and expand, systole and diastole, tension and relaxation. It is a constant movement that sustains your very existence in this world. If your heart decided to stay in the expansion phase forever, you would die of cardiac arrest. If it decided to stay in contraction, you would collapse. Life, in its most fundamental biological expression, is a rhythm. Now observe your breathing. You inhale. You fill your lungs with oxygen, you feel full, vital, but you cannot hold it. You cannot sustain that inhalation eternally. An inflection point arrives, a microsecond of suspension, and then, inevitably, you must exhale. You must empty yourself. You must let go. If you refuse to exhale, if you clung to the air out of fear of being empty, you would suffocate with your own full lungs. You must release to live again. What is true for your body is true for your bank account, for your marriage, for your state of mind, and for the history of civilizations. Welcome to Chapter 1. Today we are going to make the invisible visible. We are going to unveil the hidden machinery that pulls the strings of your reality. We are going to speak about the pendulum. We live in a universe of waves. Quantum physics has shown us that matter is not solid, it is energy vibrating. And vibration, by definition, is a back-and-forth movement between two poles. Nothing in the known universe is still. Everything flows and ebbs, everything advances and retreats, everything rises and falls. This is the law. This is the law of rhythm. And it is the most ruthless law for the ego, but the most liberating for the soul. It governs the tides of the sea and the tides of your emotions. By understanding this mechanical swing, You stop being a victim of chance and start becoming a master of your own internal frequency and your external destiny, the mechanics of the sine wave. Imagine a giant pendulum swinging in the darkness. When the pendulum moves to the right, it marks the rise. It is the moment of success, of joy, of expansion, of falling in love, of the bull market. In this movement you feel invincible. Energy flows easily. Doors open. You feel up. It is the peak of your personal cycle. Modern society, addicted to dopamine, has taught us that this is the only desirable state. It has told us that the goal of life is to grab the pendulum when it is at the far right and nail it there with steel nails. We want to be always happy, always productive, always in love. But here is where physics enters the game of life. The pendulum does not move by whim. It moves by law. The force that drives it to the right is the same force that, upon reaching the maximum point of height, the apogee, will force it to fall to the left with exactly the same intensity. The Kybalion, that ancient Hermetic text, expresses it with terrifying mathematical precision. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Read it again. This is not a poetic metaphor. It is an equation of energy conservation. It means that the height of your euphoria determines the depth of your future depression. It means that the degree of your passion determines your future boredom. It means that the speed of your unsustainable economic growth determines the violence of the recession that will follow. Rhythm is the compensation. The universe always, mathematically, seeks the zero. It seeks balance. If you go too far toward the positive pole, you are accumulating potential energy for an equivalent journey back. The mystery of post-success sadness. Has it ever happened to you that after a wonderful event, a wedding, a great trip, the launch of a successful project, an incredible party, the next day you feel an inexplicable void? You wake up and the world seems grey. You feel exhausted, apathetic, perhaps a little sad. And your rational mind begins to look for someone to blame. Your mind asks, what's wrong with me? I should be happy. Everything went well. I'm ungrateful. Nothing is wrong with you. Simply, the pendulum has begun its return journey. You spent an immense amount of psychic and emotional energy on the movement to the right, the party, the euphoria. Now the law of rhythm demands the payment. The come down is not a system error. It is the recharge. It is the necessary exhalation after a deep inhalation. The problem is not the come down. The problem is your resistance to it. The problem is that as soon as you feel the energy descend, you panic. You believe that grey state will be permanent. You think you lost your spark. And then you do the worst thing you can do. You try to force the pendulum to swing back up immediately. You drink coffee, seek stimuli, call people, force yourself to work, seek drama. You try to push the pendulum against gravity. The result? Chronic exhaustion, anxiety, burnout. You are fighting the tide, and the tide always wins. The tyranny of always good. We live in the age of toxic positivity. Open Instagram, what do you see? Perennial smiles, eternal vacations, constant successes. No one posts their moments of contraction. No one posts their winter. This creates a collective distortion of reality. We believe that normal life is to be always on the crest of the wave. It is a lie, and when we inevitably fall into the valley, because it is physical law, we think we are broken or that we have failed. We medicate ourselves not to feel the descent. We distract ourselves not to feel the silence. We have demonized half of existence. We have decided that day is good and night is bad, that summer is good and winter is a mistake. But what would happen if there were sun 24 hours a day? The planet would burn. There would be no life. What would happen if it were always summer? The earth would not rest, insects would not die, and pests would devour the crops. Winter, the descent of the pendulum, is the moment of root management. It is the time for internal growth. It is the moment where life retreats inward to gather strength for the next spring. A society that does not respect its winters is a fragile, hysterical, and superficial society. To integrate the law of rhythm is to understand that the void is as fertile as the fullness. Without the darkness of the night, we could never see the stars. Blindness to cycles. Modern humans suffer from temporal myopia. We see the present moment as if it were the definitive state of reality. When you are in the positive phase of the rhythm, you have money, health, love. Your ego assumes with arrogance, "This is so because I am great." And it will be so forever. You spend all you earn, you take it all for granted. You take your partner for granted. You neglect your health. You forget that the pendulum is rising, but that it will eventually stop and descend. Arrogance on the way up guarantees suffering on the way down, and vice versa. When you are in the negative phase, crisis, solitude, illness, your ego assumes with despair, "I am a failure." You assume it will be like this forever. You get depressed, you throw in the towel, you sell your stocks at the lowest point, you break relationships, you forget that the pendulum is down, but that by physical law, it is already accumulating momentum to rise. Despair on the way down prevents you from using the momentum of the rise. The Hermetic Master does not have this myopia. The Master sees the pendulum. When it is up, they enjoy it, but know it will go down, so they prepare. They save for winter, they maintain humility. When it is down, they accept it, but know it will rise, so they maintain hope and prepare for action. This is the full wave vision. This vision gives you a massive strategic advantage over the rest of humanity. While others react hysterically to every change of tide, you observe the ocean knowing exactly at what time it rises and at what time it falls. You inhabit a state of calm that is not affected by the external swing because your anchor is in the center. The physics of emotion. Let's analyze this from neuroscience and energy. Your nervous system is not designed to sustain constant excitement. Euphoria, the high, consumes neurotransmitters at a dizzying speed. It burns serotonin and dopamine. If you try to stay euthermic artificially, with drugs, love dramas, or risks, the system collapses, it breaks. The law of rhythm is, at its core, a biological protection mechanism. Depression, or the low state, is the system putting itself into energy-saving mode to replenish chemical stores. Boredom is necessary for creativity, solitude is necessary for self-awareness, but you, addicted to the right pendulum, interpret this as a threat. You are terrified of the void, and in that terror you fill the void with junk food, junk television, junk conversations. You block the regeneration process, and by blocking it, you lengthen the descent. What should have been a 2-day rest becomes a 2-year depression, simply because you did not allow yourself to surrender. The pendulum in relationships, the passion trap. Where the law of rhythm hurts most is in love. You meet someone. The pendulum shots to the right with violence, unbridled passion, butterflies. You can't stop thinking about that person. You believe you found your soulmate. You are drugged by the upward movement. You promise eternal love, you make crazy plans, it feels perfect. But remember the law. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Such a violent and rapid rise predicts an equally violent fall. Suddenly, one day, the magic seems to fade. You see their flaws. It bothers you how they chew. You get bored. The pendulum has begun to fall. It is a natural process. This is where most relationships die. You think, love is over, I picked the wrong person, and you break up. And you look for another to feel the high of the beginning again. You become a junkie of the start, unable to build anything real. Real love is not the upward phase. Real love is what remains when you learn to navigate both. Real love accepts that there will be moments of distance, downs necessary for there to be moments of fusion, ups again. If you accept that your partner cannot be a source of entertainment 24 hours a day, you allow the relationship to breathe. Distance creates desire. Constant closeness kills it. Rhythm saves love. The demand kills it. The pendulum in the economy market cycles. Look at economic history. Roaring 20s followed by the Great Depression. Dot-com bubble followed by the crash. Real estate bubble followed by the 2008 crisis. The market breathes. It inhales. Inflation, growth, speculation, and it exhales. Deflation, correction, fear. Amateur investors buy when the pendulum is up and sell when it is down. Amateur investors are slaves to the rhythm. The great investors, the Warren Buffetts of the world, operate in reverse. They know that when the pendulum is exaggeratedly to the right, the fall is imminent, so they sell and accumulate cash. They know that when the pendulum is in the hell of the left and everyone cries, the rise is near. They are not fortune tellers. They are rhythmic. They understand that nothing rises forever and nothing falls forever. They apply the law of rhythm to transfer wealth from the impatient to the patient. They understand that the cycle is the only constant. By mastering the timing of the pendulum, they master the flow of abundance, the illusion of permanence. The root of our suffering is the belief in permanence. We want to freeze time. We want to take a photo of the happy moment and live inside the photo. But life is a movie, not a photo. If you stop the movie, the image burns and the story ends. The law of rhythm teaches you the deepest truth of existence. This too shall pass. It is law. This phrase is a balm for the one who suffers and a warning for the one who triumphs. To you who are in the deep hole of sadness, this too shall pass. The pendulum will swing. It is inevitable. Resist. Do not make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. The sun will rise not by luck, but by planetary rotation. Trust the cycle. To you who are at the top of the world, drunk with success, this too shall pass. Do not become attached to your crown. Do not treat those on their way up badly, because you will meet them when you come down. Build solid foundations, because winter will come. Humility is the only armor that protects you from the gravity of the swing. Movement is life, stagnation is death. Sometimes in our desperation we ask for peace, but what the ego understands by peace is often stagnation. We want nothing to happen. We want total security. If the universe granted you that wish, you would become a stone. Stones have no rhythm. They do not suffer, but they do not live. Life is risk because life is movement. The law of rhythm is the heartbeat that proves the game is still on. Instead of hating the back and forth, start admiring its precision. Observe how your life has patterns. Perhaps you have a 7-year cycle. Perhaps your emotional cycles are monthly. Observe yourself, know yourself. When are you most productive, morning or night? In which season of the year do you get depressed? Stop fighting against your own design and start collaborating with it. If you know that in November your energy drops, do not schedule the most important launch of your company in November. Schedule it in May. That is rhythmic intelligence. That is using the current to navigate. Introduction to Neutralization. Now then, you might be wondering, okay, I understand that everything oscillates, but does this mean I am condemned to be a puppet? Do I have to resign myself to being depressed half my life because it's time to go down? No. Here is where Hermetic metaphysics distinguishes itself from simple passive observation. It is a path of power. The Kybalion tells us that while we cannot annul the law of rhythm, we cannot stop the pendulum, we can escape its effects. There is a technique, a master key. The Hermetic masters discovered that there are 2 planes of existence, the lower plane, subject to the emotional pendulum, and the higher plane, where consciousness resides. The technique consists of learning to rise to the higher plane just when the pendulum begins to swing back. You let the pendulum swing beneath you while you remain stable at a high vibratory level. It is like flying a plane above the storm. Below it rains and thunders, but above there is sun. Your state of being remains intact. This technique is called the law of neutralization. It is the art of polarizing yourself at will. It is the art of refusing to participate in the descent. You do not deny that the descent occurs. Facts are facts, but you deny that the descent drags you down emotionally. You become the eye of the hurricane. You are the stillness. The hurricane spins violently, destroys houses and uproots trees. But at the exact center in the eye there is absolute calm. Not a hair moves. You can be that eye. You can be in the middle of a financial crisis, a divorce, or an illness, and maintain an unshakable inner peace. That is not indifference, it is mastery. It is power. It is the ability to observe the movement without being the movement. But to become the eye, first you have to stop identifying with the wind. You have to stop believing that you are your emotions. You have to stop believing that you are your circumstances. You have to understand the pendulum to unhook yourself from it. It is done. The new perspective. Today you have taken the first step. You have seen the strings. You have understood that your instability is not a factory defect, but a cosmic law. You have understood that the price of euphoria is depression, and that if you want to avoid the fall, You must moderate the rise. You have understood that the universe breathes. You have understood that you are a cell in that giant body. From today on, when you feel sadness, fatigue, or failure knock on your door, do not panic. Do not run to the doctor immediately. Do not get divorced immediately. Do not close the business immediately. Breathe. Look at the cosmic calendar and find your peace in the law. Say, it's just the pendulum moving to the left. It's time to exhale. It's time to rest. It's not the end of the world. It's the change of season. With this change of perspective, 50% of your suffering will disappear. Suffering is resistance. If you remove the resistance, only the flow remains. But we will not settle for accepting. We will go further. We are going to learn to hack the system. In the next chapters, I will teach you how the price is paid in advance so as not to have karmic debts. And I will teach you the crown jewel, how to apply mental neutralization to stay in a state of bliss and power. Regardless of whether the world is falling apart, be ready. The pendulum moves, but you are about to learn to fly. You are about to discover that you are not the swing, but the consciousness that observes it. Reclaim your throne in the center of the cycle and watch as the world begins to dance to your own rhythm. The mastery of your life begins with the mastery of your stillness. Chapter 2, The Law of Compensation. We are going to start with an uncomfortable truth, a phrase that you should tattoo on the inside of your eyelids so you read it every time you blink. In this universe, nothing is free. Absolutely nothing. Not the air you breathe, nor the love you receive, nor the money you earn, nor the enlightenment you seek. It is a fundamental law. We live in a closed system of energy. And in a closed system, energy cannot be created from nothing or destroyed. It can only be transformed and exchanged. Every gain has a price. Every loss has a reward. Every inhalation demands an exhalation. Every rise demands a fall. There is no way to bypass this universal accounting process. The infantilized society in which we live has sold us the fantasy of the free lunch. They sell us the idea that we can eat without getting fat, spend without earning, love without committing, and succeed without bleeding. You seek the shortcut. You seek the magic pill. You seek the hack to skip the process. But the universe has no shortcuts. The universe has a law of compensation. And this law is the great equalizer. It is the cosmic accountant who never sleeps, who never forgets a decimal point, and who always, invariably, balances the final books. Welcome to Chapter 2. Today we are going to review your spiritual accounting books. It is time for a real and honest audit. If you feel cheated by life, this chapter will show you where your hidden gain is. If you feel guilty about your success, this chapter will show you how to pay the bill so you don't lose it. We are going to discover that divine justice is not a man with a beard judging on a throne. It is a mechanism of mathematical precision, pure physics, the balance of zero. Imagine an ancient scale, the kind with two plates. The universe has a compulsive obsession. It wants the pointer of the scale to always be in the center, marking zero. Zero is the state of rest, the fertile void, perfection. When you move the pendulum to the right, seeking pleasure, success, expansion, you are putting weight on one plate. The scale becomes unbalanced. For the system not to collapse, the law of compensation must obligatorily put an equivalent weight on the left plate: pain, restriction, sacrifice. Ralph Waldo Emerson, in his brilliant essay on compensation, explained it like this: every excess causes a defect, every defect causes an excess. It is symmetry. You cannot have one pole without the other. If you want the freedom of the entrepreneur, you must pay the price of uncertainty and anxiety. You cannot have the freedom of the entrepreneur with the security of the employee. That package does not exist in the cosmic store. If you want security, you must pay the price of limited freedom. If you want an athlete's body gain, you must pay with the pain of training and the deprivation of junk food loss. People suffer because they want the prize without the price. They want the athlete's body while eating like the hedonist. They want the millionaire's fortune while sleeping like the lazy. That is a cosmic fraud attempt. And the law of rhythm will take care of correcting it violently. If you obtain something without paying for it, by luck, inheritance, or theft, the law will take it away with interest later on. What comes easy goes easy. What is paid for with blood stays. Real value requires real investment. The universe is an honest merchant. The law of equivalent exchange. The alchemists called this equivalent exchange. To obtain something of value, you must sacrifice something of equal value. The word sacrifice comes from the Latin sacro facere, to make sacred. It does not mean to lose, it means to hand over something inferior to receive something superior. Compensation works in both directions. Paying in advance. This is voluntary sacrifice. You study while others sleep. You save while others spend. You are putting weight on the effort plate. The law, to balance, must put weight on the success plate. It is inevitable. 2. Paying later, with interest. This is hedonism on credit. You get drunk today. Borrowed pleasure. Tomorrow you have a hangover. Payment with interest. You spend money you don't have on credit cards. Years later you live drowned in debt. The Hermetic Master prefers to pay in advance. He prefers to choose his pain. Because if you do not choose your sacrifice, life will choose it for you. And life usually charges much higher rates. It is better to pay the price of discipline, which weighs ounces, than to pay the price of regret, which weighs tons. By choosing your effort, you direct your rewards. By avoiding the work, you invite chaos to settle the score. The wise person understands that discipline is simply the art of buying their future freedom today. The compensation of pain, the comfort. Here we enter the most healing part of this law. If everything must be compensated, what happens to your current suffering? What happens to that illness, that loss, that uninvited loneliness? The law says you have a credit in your favor. If you have suffered much, you have accumulated a massive load on the negative side of the scale. By pure physics, the pendulum has to swing toward the positive side with the same force. The deeper that sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you can contain. Khalil Gibran. Imagine that you are a building. Suffering is the universe excavating the foundations. They are removing earth, making a dark and deep hole for you. You cry and say, "They are destroying me. I'm getting deeper and deeper." But the architect knows that if he wants to build a 100-story skyscraper, a high consciousness, a great capacity to love, he needs to dig 50 stories down. If you only dig 1 meter, little suffering, shallow life, you can only build a shack. It will fly. The deepest, wisest, and most luminous people you know are always those who have suffered the most. There is no exception. No one wakes up in a 5-star hotel drinking champagne. They wake up in the desert, thirsty. Therefore, if you are in a streak of bad luck, if the rhythm has hit you hard, rejoice. I know it sounds crazy, but rejoice. You are accumulating cosmic points. You are stretching the slingshot's elastic backward. The further back they take you, the stronger the forward shot will be. Do not see yourself as a victim. See yourself as an investor who is depositing pain in the bank to withdraw wisdom and strength tomorrow. It is an investment in your soul. Compensation guarantees that your tear of today is the seed of your smile of tomorrow. It is not cheap comfort, it is law. Your current trials are simply the measure of the greatness that is coming. The universe is not punishing you, it is preparing you to hold the weight of the massive rewards that are currently being calculated. The danger of good luck. Now let's look at the other side, the side you envy. You see someone who seems to have everything easy. They were born rich, they are handsome, everything goes well for them. You feel envy. You say, life is unfair. Why them and not me? Be careful with what you envy. Compensation is always active even if it is invisible to you. Internal compensation. Often those who have an excess of external goods suffer a deficit of internal goods. I have known billionaires who live terrified of losing their money or who feel abysmal loneliness because they don't know if they are loved or their wallet. Their debit and credit are balanced, but you only see it. You only see the Instagram. 2. The fragility of the pampered. Someone whom life has not hit is a weak person. They have not developed antibodies. When the first crisis arrives, and it always does, they will break like glass. You, who have been forged in the fire, are steel. Who is luckier, the intact glass or the tempered steel? Deferred karma. If someone obtains success without merit, they are contracting a karmic debt. The universe is patient. They may not collect today. They may collect in 10 years or in the next generation. But the bill arrives. Never envy unearned success. It is a death trap. Real power is earned, anything else is a loan. Balance in relationships, the mirror theory. The law of compensation governs your loves with an iron fist. Have you noticed that in many couples there are polarized roles? One is the lover, the one who pursues, the one who gives more. Two, the other is the beloved, the one who lets themselves be loved, the one who flees, the distant one. This is a scale in motion. If you give too much excess on one plate, you energetically force the other to give less, defect on the other plate, to maintain the balance of the system. The more you pursue, the more the other flees. You scream, "It's unfair. I give everything and they give nothing." It is perfectly fair. It is compensation. It is physics. Your excess of giving has stolen the other's space to give. You have filled the whole room with your anxiety to give, and you have not left oxygen for the other to give. To balance the relationship, you don't have to ask them to give more. You have to give less. You have to remove weight from your plate. You must step back now. By you backing away, you create a vacuum, and the law of rhythm forces the other to move forward to fill that vacuum. Compensation teaches you that you cannot force love. You can only balance the dynamic. By reclaiming your own space, you allow the other person the dignity of choosing to move toward you of their own free will. The success tax. There is a phenomenon that affects great achievers. They achieve massive success, fame, money, power, and shortly after they self-destruct. Scandals, drugs, suicides, catastrophic divorces. Why? Because they did not pay the compensatory tax voluntarily. They received a massive amount of positive energy. The scale tipped dangerously. If you do not balance that voluntarily with something that anchors you to the earth, humility, service, anonymous donations, private asceticism, the pendulum will hit you to balance you by force. Public humiliation is the universe's way of compensating for unmeasured arrogance. Illness is the way of compensating for no rest. Ancient kings knew this. When they won a great battle, they offered sacrifices to the gods. They stripped themselves of something valuable. It was not superstition. It was psychological technology. They were saying, "Universe, I have won much. So that you don't punish me, I inflict a small controlled loss upon myself, I pay." If you have a great success, immediately seek a way to compensate. Donate money, help someone in silence. Be extremely humble, fast. Balance the scale yourself before the law does it for you. This is the secret of sustainable greatness. By acknowledging the gift, you prevent the pendulum from needing to swing back in a destructive way. The intelligence of scarcity. Sometimes compensation works in mysterious ways. Nature compensates for defects by developing other skills. 1. The blind person develops an extraordinary sense of hearing. 2. The poor child develops an ingenuity and a hunger for success that the rich child does not have. It is the drive of the soul to fill the empty spaces. The unattractive person often develops a charismatic personality and a sharp sense of humor to survive socially. Your shortcomings are your greatest advantages in disguise. If you lack something, the law is pushing you to develop something else to compensate. That other thing is usually your superpower. It is your unique gift. Do not lament for what you do not have. Look for which muscle is hypertrophying thanks to that absence. There is your gold. Every hole in your life is a space for a new talent to grow. The universe doesn't leave gaps. It only reallocates resources to ensure that your soul is forced to evolve beyond its perceived limitations. The price of inaction. There are people who think, well, if action causes reaction, I better do nothing. I'll stay still on the sofa, and that way I won't have problems. Error. Inaction also has a compensatory price. The price of action is risk and fatigue. The price of inaction is atrophy and regret. Life charges you rent for occupying a body. Use it. If you don't use your talents, it takes them away from you. To everyone who has, more will be given, and from him who does not have, even what he has will be taken away. This is pure law of compensation. Stagnant energy rots. If you decide not to play the game of life to not suffer, you will suffer the worst of sentences. Irrelevance. You will suffer the void of a life unlived. It is better to pay the price of failure than the price of not having tried. Failure leaves scars, wisdom. Inaction leaves nothing, oblivion. The movement of the universe is forward. If you try to stand still, the friction of life passing you by will eventually wear you down to nothing. Karmic accounting, cause and effect. Compensation is the mother of karma. But let's take away the religious tint. Karma is simply the memory of the system. The universe remembers. If you throw a stone into the lake, the waves expand. Eventually, those waves bounce off the shore and return to the center. If you emit hate, it goes out and hits you in the back, it returns. If you emit disinterested generosity, that energy seeks the path of least resistance to return to you, often through people who have nothing to do with the original recipient. You help Juan, and years later, Pedro helps you. The linear mind says, Juan is ungrateful. The rhythmic mind says, I put a credit in the universal bank. The bank has returned the money to me with interest through the Pedro window. The account is settled. Stop keeping books with individual people. I invited him to dinner. He owes me a dinner. That is petty. Keep the accounting with the universe. You give. If that person doesn't return it, the universe will. It's law, it must. Trusting in this gives you absolute freedom. You become a generator of wealth, not a debt collector. You stop worrying about who owes you and start focusing on how much more you can deposit into the field. The more you put in, the more the law of compensation is forced to return to you through 1,000 unexpected doors. The search for the center, Tao. The final goal of understanding compensation is not to become obsessed with calculation. The goal is to find the Tao, the middle way. If you know that extremes are violently compensated, you learn to avoid the extremes. You learn the virtue of moderation. Not boring and grey moderation, but strategic moderation. The center of power. You don't work yourself to death, so as not to compensate with illness. 2. You don't spend everything you have, so as not to compensate with poverty. 3. You don't love with suffocating attachment, so as not to compensate with abandonment. You walk the tightrope, you maintain dynamic balance. You enjoy the feast but stop before full. You enjoy the party but leave before drunk. You surrender to love but maintain your individual sovereignty. The one who walks through the middle does not activate the violent compensation mechanisms of the pendulum. Their life is smoother. Their falls are shallower. Their rises are more sustainable. They stay in the flow of peace. They get off the roller coaster and get on a boat that sails smoothly through the waves. They understand that by staying near the center, they minimize the friction of existence. This is not a life of fear, but a life of wisdom. It is knowing that the greatest power is found in the eye of the storm, where the balance remains perfect. How to apply the law today? How do we use this on Monday morning? 1. Audit of excesses. Look at your life. Where are you overdoing it? Identify the excess and reduce it voluntarily before life forces you. 2. Acceptance of deficits. Look where you lack something. Stop crying and ask, what price am I not paying? Identify the price and pay it. Go ahead. Comfort in crisis. If you are in the hole, repeat, I am accumulating momentum. This is the bow's tension before the arrow. 4. Strategic generosity. Give what you want to receive. If you want attention, give attention. If you want respect, give respect. Start the cycle. Be the one who moves the pendulum first. Lead the way. The law of compensation is severe, yes. It destroys childish fantasies, but it is profoundly liberating. It frees you from the feeling of injustice. It frees you from envy. It frees you from the fear that your effort is in vain. It never is. It frees you from the fear that your pain is eternal. It never is. It is an honest law. The universe is a mathematical mirror. It doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are and what you have paid for. You have understood the price. You have understood that the pendulum charges a toll. But what if there were a way to get out of the economy of pain? What if you didn't have to suffer to grow? Think. What if we could watch the pendulum swing without it hitting us in the face? It exists. It is the supreme technique of the alchemists. It is the secret to hacking the rhythm. In the next chapter, I am going to give you the most important tool in this book. We are going to learn to freeze emotional time. we will learn neutralization. Chapter 3. The Art of Neutralization. Imagine you are tied to a giant swing. Someone pushes you hard. You fly forward toward the sun, feeling the wind in your face, the adrenaline, the laughter. It is success. But physics is relentless. At the highest point, gravity stops you and drags you violently backward, toward the shadow, toward fear. You spend your life on that swing. Forward and backward, euphoria and depression, hope and disappointment. You are a puppet of inertia. Most human beings die on that swing. They believe that's just life. They believe their destiny is to oscillate until the rope breaks. But there is a legend, a secret kept by the initiates. They say it is possible to let go of the swing while it is in motion. They say it is possible to remain suspended in the air, or better yet, to walk on firm ground while the empty swing continues to move beside you. That secret is the law of neutralization. Welcome to Chapter 3. Today we stop being victims of physics to become masters. Today we stop being victims of physics to become masters of metaphysics. Today, I am going to teach you to use your will to refuse to be dragged by the negative pendulum. We are not going to stop the movement of the world. That is impossible. We are going to stop your reaction to it. Get ready. We are going to enter the eye of the hurricane. The two planes of existence. To understand neutralization, you must first understand the architecture of your being. The Kybalion teaches us that the law of rhythm reigns supreme in the lower plane, the physical, emotional, and lower mental plane. In this plane, everything oscillates. Your emotions are chemistry, and chemistry is unstable. Your body is matter. If you live identified with your ego and your emotions, you are living in the lower plane. You are cannon fodder for the pendulum. But there is a higher plane. The plane of pure consciousness, the plane of the spirit, the plane of the observer. In this plane, there is no oscillation. There is eternal stability. It is your true home. The trick of neutralization is not to fight the pendulum. That is fighting in the lower plane where the pendulum is always stronger than you. The trick is to get on the elevator. When you feel the pendulum starting to swing back toward negativity, instead of being carried back, you rise vertically toward the higher plane. You ascend. You let the oscillation pass beneath you. You see how the situation turns ugly. You see how your body wants to feel fear. But you, your consciousness, are looking from the balcony of the second floor, untouchable, serene, sovereign. You observe the movement without being the movement. You are the stillness at the center of the storm. The mechanism of identification. How does the pendulum hook us? Through the glue of identification. Observe your language. You say, I am sad. By using the verb to be, you are merging with the emotion. You are saying that you and the sadness are the same thing. You have given permission to the emotion to hijack your identity. You have climbed onto the swing. Once you identify, you get on the swing. And if the swing goes to hell, you go with it. The Hermetic master changes language and perception. He never says, I am sad. He says, there is sadness passing through my energy field. Or, I observe a fear reaction in my body. Do you see the difference? It is a fundamental shift in power. In the second sentence, there is a subject, you, and an object, the emotion. There is a distance. That distance, even if it is only a millimeter, is your freedom. In that small space between you and what you feel is where neutralization operates. The pendulum can only drag you if you hold on to it. If you let go, it passes you by. The step-by-step technique. Let's get practical. How is this done when your boss yells at you or when your partner leaves you? Neutralization is an act of conscious will. It requires training, like a mental martial art. Step 1. Vigilance. Most people realize they are depressed when they have already been in bed for 3 days. That is way too late for the master. The master detects the pendulum in the nanosecond it starts to turn. You feel that small pang of anxiety in your stomach. You feel that first negative thought. Alert! The rhythm is changing. The descent is approaching. This is where you must act. By catching it early, you prevent the momentum from building into an uncontrollable force. Step 2. Dissociation. Instead of diving into the emotion, you take a mental step back. Visualize yourself leaving your body and looking at the scene from the ceiling. Look at that small you who is about to get angry or sad. Mentally say, I am not that. I am the observer of that. Break the glue. Reclaim your seat in the theater. Step 3. The negative, the hermetic no. This is the secret. You must exercise your will to refuse to participate in the oscillation. It is not denying reality. It is denying your right to be dragged down. Tell yourself with authority, I refuse to go down. I refuse to yield my power to this circumstance. I remain in my center. Step 4. Polarization. While reality pushes you toward the negative pole, fear, you fiercely focus on the positive pole, courage, calm. You do not fight fear. You simply tune into calm. It is as if you were on a sinking ship, but you mentally decide to be on a sunny beach. You hold the high vibration despite the external evidence. This creates a bubble of protection. The pendulum of negativity crashes against your high vibration and slips away. You become made of Teflon. You are no longer a victim of the gravity of the lower plane. You have successfully shifted your polarization, and the law of the pendulum can no longer find a grip on your sovereign soul. The Teflon effect. The goal of neutralization is to become spiritual Teflon. Nothing sticks to you, insults slip off, bad news slips off, collective mood swings slip off. Not because you are insensitive or a psychopath. You still feel, but you don't keep anything. The emotion passes through you like the wind through a net without moving it. The average person is made of Velcro. Everything sticks to them. A bad comment in the morning stays stuck all day and ruins their night. The master is waterproof. Imagine the power of walking through the world, knowing that nothing that happens outside can alter your internal state without your explicit permission. That is true power. That is true invulnerability. It is the peace that surpasses all understanding, because it does not depend on things going well according to the world's standards. It depends on your ability to remain neutral and polarized in your own divine center. You are the architect of your inner climate, regardless of the storm outside. Difference between neutralizing and repressing. Be careful. There is a death trap here. Many confuse neutralization with repression. Repressing is swallowing the emotion. It is feeling like crying and clenching your teeth and pretending you are fine. That is poison. It turns into cancer, ulcers, and explosions of rage. Repression occurs in the lower plane. It is a violent struggle. Neutralizing is rising above. In neutralization, you allow the emotion to exist, but you do not allow it to rule you. You say, I see there is rage in my body. Welcome, rage. I observe you, but I am not going to act from rage, nor am I going to become rage. I let it pass. You provide the channel for the energy to move through you. Repression is a dam that holds water until it eventually breaks. Neutralization is a channel that lets the water run toward the sea. The master is not a robot without feelings. The master feels deeply, but lets go quickly. His emotional pendulum oscillates, but his consciousness is anchored in the zero. He is free from the hooks of drama. The eye of the hurricane. The perfect metaphor is the hurricane. The periphery of the hurricane, the edge, spins at 300 km/h. It destroys everything. The center of the hurricane, the eye, is in absolute calm. There is sun. Birds fly. However, the eye is part of the hurricane. It is in the chaos, but it is not the chaos. Neutralization is moving toward the eye. The further you move from your center, toward the ego, toward attachment, toward drama, the harder the wind of rhythm hits you. The closer you move to your center, to the self, to silence, to acceptance, the more calm you find. When your life becomes chaos, do not try to stop the wind. Do not try to fix everything on the outside. Run toward the center. Sit down. Breathe. Connect with your I am. Find that point inside you that has never been wounded, that has never been born, and that will never die. That point is immune to the rhythm. From that point, you can watch your life fall apart and say, interesting, let's see what we build next. That is sovereignty. The mastery of attention. The key to the elevator is your attention. That to which you pay attention grows. That from which you withdraw your attention dies or is neutralized. When the pendulum swings toward the negative, your mind will want to obsess over the bad. Why did they say that? What will I do? Everything is wrong. You are feeding the monster. Your attention is feeding the monster. You are giving it your vital energy so that the pendulum hits you harder. Neutralizing is withdrawing attention. It is an act of fierce discipline. It is saying, I see the problem, but I choose to focus my attention on the solution, or on peace, or on my breath. You cut off the fuel supply. By taking attention away from the drama, you take away its fuel. The negative pendulum without your energy loses inertia. It slows down, and eventually it stops or changes direction toward the positive much faster. You have shortened the winter simply by not looking at it. You have mastered the flow of your own creative power. The use of physiology. Sometimes the mind is weak and cannot neutralize alone. Help yourself with the body. Rhythm affects the body. When you are down, your body slumps, your breathing is shallow, your eyes look at the ground. It is impossible to neutralize mentally if your body is screaming defeat. Hack the system from the physical level. When you feel the come down, 1. Straighten up, straight spine, chin high. 2. Breathe deeply. Oxygenate the brain. 3. Look up. Neurologically, looking up activates visual zones and disconnects access to negative memories. 4. Smile, even if it's fake. The grimace of a smile sends a signal to the brain. We are fine. By changing your physiology, you break the pattern of the physical pendulum. You give your mind a solid foundation so it can rise to the higher plane. You use the hardware to reset the software. Within seconds, your chemical state begins to match your posture, and you find the strength to reclaim your center and your peace. Gradual polarization, the art of turning. You cannot go from deep depression to ecstatic euphoria in a second. That is violent and false. Neutralization uses gradual polarization. If you are at grade 10, terror, do not try to go to grade +10, happiness. Try to go to grade 5, constructive concern. Then to grade 0, calm neutrality. Seek the middle ground first. The main goal of neutralization is not to be happy, it is to be neutral. The 0 is the point of power. From 0, you can choose to go wherever you want. From 10, you only want to flee. When crisis hits you, your goal is not to jump for joy. It is to recover calm. Seek peace, not happiness. Peace is a steady and eternal state. Peace is stable. Happiness is rhythmic and therefore it will end. Peace can be eternal. By aiming for neutrality, you take the power away from the pendulum. You become the master of the scale, no longer subject to the violent swings of emotional highs and lows. You inhabit the kingdom of the middle, where all true power resides, the silent witness. Practice being the witness of your own life. Imagine that your life is a movie. You are the spectator in the cinema eating popcorn. On the screen, terrible things are happening to the protagonist, your ego. The spectator feels emotion, suspense, perhaps cries a little. But the spectator knows he is sitting in the seat, safe. He is safe. They are not shooting at him. They are shooting at the image. Neutralization is constantly remembering, I am the spectator, not the movie. When they insult you, they insult your character, not you. When you lose money, your character loses, not you. You are the consciousness experiencing the loss, but you are intact. This little mystical madness is the supreme sanity. It allows you to play the game of life with total intensity, but without fear of losing. Because you know you cannot lose. You can only experience. You are the eternal screen upon which the drama of life is projected, and the screen remains unstained regardless of the plot. The example of mental Aikido. Aikido is a martial art that does not block the opponent's blow. It redirects it. It uses the force of the attack to throw the opponent. Neutralization is mental Aikido. The blow of the rhythm, a crisis, comes. Instead of getting rigid and resisting, which would break you, you flow, you move, you step aside. You let it pass by. You let the energy of the crisis pass by you. You say, yes, this is happening, and it's fine, I accept it. I do not oppose it. By not opposing it, the crisis finds nowhere to impact. It goes through the air. And you remain standing, intact, ready to use that energy for your next move. Resistance creates suffering. Neutralization flows. Practice in the crossfire. All this sounds very pretty in an audiobook. The trial by fire is Monday morning in a traffic jam. Someone cuts you off. Your emotional pendulum reacts. Rage, screams, "Idiot! Stop! There is the moment." 1. Detect, I am feeling rage. 2. Dissociate, it's not me, it's my ego reacting. 3. Neutralize, act now. Neutralize, I refuse to let this stranger control my mood. I refuse to lower my vibration. 4. Polarize, I choose calm. I put on music. I bless the driver. In 10 seconds, you have transmuted the poison. You have prevented that rage from sticking to you, bittering your day and attracting more rage situations. You won. You have won the battle. You are free. You have proven that you are the master of your internal kingdom. By doing this repeatedly, you rewire your brain to stay in the center. The external world loses its power over you, and you become a lighthouse of stability in a world of chaotic swings. You are the sovereign of your soul. The power of "and this also." A final linguistic tool. When something good happens to you, say, "and this also," and do not get attached. When something bad happens to you, say, "and this also." Do not reject it. Treat the two imposters, success and failure, with the same indifference, as Kipling said. Do not believe your victories too much, nor your defeats. Neither are final. Both are lies of the pendulum. The only truth is you, the motionless pivot, the eternal consciousness. By repeating "and this also," you maintain your balance and prevent the pendulum from gaining momentum. You remain in the flow of life, observing the tides with a serene smile, knowing you are the sea. Chapter 4. The Mastery of Winter. A day comes when the phone stops ringing. Inspiration, which once flowed like a torrent, dries up and becomes a miserable trickle. You sit in front of the computer, and the blank screen returns a hostile look. Your sales go down, your libido disappears, your enthusiasm for life evaporates. You feel like you are walking through molasses. Each movement costs triple the effort, and then the voice of fear, your ego, begins its terrorist monologue. It's over. I've lost the touch. I've stagnated. I'm a fraud. I'm going to be ruined. I'll never be who I was before. You panic. You try to force the machine. You force yourself to work more hours, but you only produce garbage. You try. You force yourself to go out, but you feel alienated. You drink more coffee, seek more stimuli. You hit the wall with bleeding fists, shouting, "Start! Start once and for all." But the engine does not start, and it does not start because it is not broken. Simply it is in winter. Welcome to Chapter 4. Today we are going to learn to love. Today we are going to learn to love the darkness. We are going to discover that what you call block or depression is in reality a sacred phase of recharge and restructuring. We are going to stop fighting against the cold season, and we are going to learn to hibernate like bears and to take root like oaks. Because spring is coming. Spring is not a random gift. It is the prize received by those who knew how to respect their winter. By yielding to the stillness, you allow the deep processes of the soul to complete their cycle. You stop being a victim of the lack of movement and become the master of your own internal seasons, preparing for the inevitable bloom. The biology of silence. Look at a tree in the middle of winter. It is naked. Its branches look like dry skeletons against the gray sky. It has no leaves, no flowers, no fruits, no birds nesting in it. If an inhabitant of a tropical planet saw that tree for the first time, they would say, "Poor thing, it is dead, it must be cut down." But you know it is not dead. You know that under the frozen earth, a frenetic activity is occurring. The sap has withdrawn from the branches, the exterior, to concentrate in the roots, the interior. The tree is growing downward. It is widening its base. It is repairing its internal tissues. It is accumulating the energy necessary for the explosion of life of spring. If the tree tried to bloom in January out of vanity or anxiety, the ice would burn its buds and it would die. Its inaction is its salvation. Its silence is its strategy. You are part of nature. You are not a silicon machine. You are biology and spirit. However, you demand yourself to bloom 365 days a year. It is a false demand. You demand yourself to be always producing, always shining, always visible. That is unnatural, and it is unsustainable. Consumer society has convinced you that you are only valuable when you are visible. It has told you that winter is a waste of time. But the law of rhythm dictates without winter there is no summer, no growth. Without the phase of contraction and silence, the phase of expansion lacks strength. The mediocrity of most human works, mediocre art, fragile companies, superficial lives, is because their creators did not allow themselves the gestation time in the dark. They brought it all out too early. They aborted the process. Respect the dark. Gestation versus stagnation. The first step for mastery of winter is to change your vocabulary. You must learn the critical difference between stagnation and gestation. From the outside, they look the same. There is no apparent movement, but from the inside, they are opposites. Stagnation is putrefaction. It is water that does not move and fills with mud. It is death. It happens when you stop out of fear, laziness, or resistance. The vibration of stagnation is low, dense, and smells of resignation. Gestation is invisible creation. It is the egg that looks like an inert stone, but inside is forming an eagle. It is pregnancy. A pregnant woman sitting on the sofa looks as if she does nothing. She is building a spine, a brain, and a heart. Would you tell her she is lazy? Would you tell her to get up and be productive? No, she is doing the most sacred work in the world. When you enter a phase of low energy, ask yourself, am I rotten or am I pregnant? If you feel your soul is dry out of fear, it is stagnation. Take a step. If you feel your soul is heavy, tired, and asks for a cave, it is gestation. Solution: deep rest. Most of your creative blocks are pregnancies. Your subconscious is cooking the next version of yourself. Version 2.0 of your life requires version 1.0 to die and be digested. That process consumes a brutal amount of energy. Rest now. That is why you feel tired. All your energy is being used in the internal work. Nothing remains for the external gallery. Respect that. Do not interrupt the pregnancy by forcing a premature birth. What will be born will be weak and will not survive. Trust the timing of your soul and allow the new life to reach its full strength in silence. The darkroom, the revelation. In analog photography, you took the photo in the light, action, but the image was revealed in the darkness. If you turned on the light in the darkroom too early, the photo was ruined. It was erased. Winter is your darkroom. It is the moment where the experiences you lived in the summer are processed, integrated, and turned into wisdom. Without reflection, experience is just noise. You need the silence of winter to understand what happened, to learn the lesson, to adjust the course. When the rhythm drops, the universe is sending you to your room, not as a punishment, but as protection. It tells you, come here, hide for a while, the world has worn you down. You need to recover your form. You need to remember who you are without the applause. Winter is the antidote against addiction to external validation. When no one is looking at you, when you have no recent successes to show, you face the naked question, who am I when I don't win? If you find your value there, you are invincible. The metaphor of the Japanese bamboo. There is no better teacher of winter than Japanese bamboo. You sow the seed, you water it, you fertilize it. A year passes, nothing comes out of the earth. The second year passes. You water, you fertilize. Nothing. The third year passes. Nothing. The fourth year passes. Nothing. People mock you. You are watering empty soil. You are delusional. You persist. You neutralize. You trust the law. In the fifth year, a boom. The sprout breaks the surface, and in only 6 weeks the plant grows 30 meters high. Did it grow 30 meters in 6 weeks? No. It grew 30 meters in 5 years and 6 weeks. During the 5 years of invisible winter, the bamboo was developing a root network. It was building a network so strong and deep that it could support the height of 30 meters without the wind knocking it down. If it had grown earlier, it would have fallen. Your phase of low energy is your bamboo phase. You are taking root. You are building character. You are building resilience. You are building faith. Those are roots. Visible success, money, fame, achievement are the branches. If you have big branches and small roots, quick success without winter, the first storm will kill you. Appreciate the slowness. Slowness is anchoring you. It is preparing you to sustain a height that you cannot even imagine. Trust the depth of your current hidden growth. Wu-wei effortless action. So what do we do in winter? Do we throw ourselves in bed to wait? No, that is depression. The master practices Wu Wei, non-doing, or action through inaction. It is a subtle type of activity, of maintenance, of low intensity. Imagine a farmer in winter. He cannot sow, the ground is hard, he cannot harvest, there is nothing. But he is busy. He does not stay still. He repairs fences, he sharpens tools, he cleans the barn. He plans next year's harvest. He takes care of the animals. He reads by the fire. He does maintenance work. When your energy drops, clean. It is the perfect moment for order. Clean your house, your computer, your contacts. Winter is for eliminating excess. Prepare the empty space for the new. Educate. If you cannot produce output, dedicate yourself to consuming quality. Input. Read. Study. Take courses. Fill the well. Repair. Go to the doctor. Go to the dentist. Fix that leak. Heal your family relationships. Attend to what you neglected during the frantic summer harvest. Plan now. Dream without the pressure to execute yet. Visualize. Design the strategy. Winter is the time of architects. This type of work does not require the explosive energy of creation. It requires a constant and calm energy, and it gives you a sense of purpose. It keeps you in gentle motion, avoiding stagnation while respecting the rest. Shadow work facing the ghosts. There is a reason why we hate winter. The ghosts come out at night. When you are busy, running from one place to another, you can ignore your traumas, your fears, and your wounds. The noise covers them. But when the rhythm drops, when the silence becomes thick, they come out. You start to hear your doubts and feel old pains. That is why people drug themselves or distract themselves compulsively in their low moments. To not listen to the ghosts. Mastery of winter requires courage. It requires that you sit down to have tea with your demons. It is the moment for shadow work. Take advantage of the low energy and the weak ego defense to look inside. Ask yourself, why do I feel so alone? Why am I so afraid to fail? Do not run from these questions. Winter is intensive therapy. If you heal the wound now in the dark, you will not bleed when you return to the light. Cleaning the basement is dirty and unpleasant, but it ensures that the house does not smell bad later. Use sadness. Use it as a laser to find where you are broken and repair yourself with gold. This is the alchemy of the soul. By facing what you have hidden, you reclaim the power that was trapped in your fear. When spring finally arrives, you will walk with a lightness and authenticity that only those who have faced their darkness can possess. The economy of energy, saving mode. Imagine you are a phone and you have 10% battery left. What do? Do you start watching 4K videos with the brightness at maximum? No. The system automatically enters energy-saving mode. It lowers the brightness. It closes background apps. It only maintains what is vital. Your body and soul do the same in winter. They save. They take away energy for superfluous things, parties, socializing, vain projects, to conserve energy for vital functions. Healing, staying sane, gestating. Do not fight with your low battery. Optimize it. Learn to say no. Winter is the season of no. No, I cannot go to that dinner. No, I am not taking that project. Protect it. Protect your little energy as if it were liquid gold. Do not waste it on pleasing others. People will get angry. They will say, "How boring you are not fun anymore." Let them say what they want. They do not know you are gestating. You do. Your loyalty is with your process, not with their entertainment. Be the guardian of your light. The danger of comparing seasons. The number one source of suffering in winter is comparison. You look at social media. You see your competition launching products, winning awards, traveling. They are in full summer. You are in pajamas, with the flu, without ideas. The ego screams, "Look!" They advance and you stay behind. They are going to beat you. It feels real. This is an optical illusion. You are comparing your winter with their summer. It is unfair and stupid. They will have their winter. It is law. And you will have your summer. Everyone has their own time zone. In New York, it is day. In Tokyo, it is night. Is New York better than Tokyo? No. It is simply their turn for sun. Respect yours. Respect your turn for the moon. If you try to run a marathon when your body asks you to sleep, you will not only lose the race, but you will injure yourself and you will not be able to run the next one. Have the discipline to put on blinkers, like horses, and do not look to the sides. Look at your land. Look at your own deep roots. What others do in their plots is irrelevant to your harvest. Your only responsibility is to be faithful to the current rhythm of your own life. By focusing on your internal process, you ensure that when your summer finally arrives, your fruit will be unique, abundant, and perfectly ripened by the wisdom of your patient waiting. Radical trust in spring. The key to not going crazy in winter is one word: faith. But not religious faith, mechanical faith, astronomical faith. Have you ever doubted that the sun will rise tomorrow? Have you ever feared that winter will last forever and spring will never come? No. You know the earth turns, you know it is inevitable, it is the law. You must have the same certainty with your vital cycles. This too shall pass. Energy will return. Inspiration will return. Money will return. Not because you are good, but because the rhythm does not stop. The pendulum that is on the left must return to the right. Fear during winter is thinking, what if this time is different? What if I have stayed like this forever? That thought is the true enemy. That thought blocks the flow and turns winter into an ice age. Anxiety freezes. Trust melts. Relax. Tell yourself, I am in fallow. The earth is resting. Soon the rain will come. Soon the sprouts will come. Your only job now is to wait well. Be the king. Knowing how to wait is the supreme quality of the king. The slave is in a hurry. The king has time. By occupying your winter with dignity and patience, you demonstrate that you are the master of your destiny. You are not begging for the sun to return. You are preparing the house for its inevitable and glorious arrival in your life. How to accelerate, paradoxically, winter. Although you cannot force spring, you can avoid lengthening winter unnecessarily. Winter is lengthened by resistance. If you complain about the cold feels more intense. If you embrace the cold, wrap up warm and enjoy the fireplace, winter flies by. The fastest way out of the hole is to stop trying to get out. It's surrender. It is to sink into it with total acceptance. Okay, universe, understood, time out, I surrender. I'm going to enjoy doing nothing. At the moment you truly surrender, the tension is released. And as tension is released, the energy you were using to fight against yourself becomes free. And that free energy is the spark that starts it. That energy starts the engine again. Often inspiration arrives exactly the day you decide to stop looking for it, and you go for a walk without a destination. The muse visits the one who is relaxed, not the one who is desperate. By letting go of the need for spring, you create the internal warmth that invites it to arrive sooner, the signal of change. How do you know that winter is ending? You start to feel a tingle, a restlessness, not the restlessness of anxiety, but the restlessness of adventure. Ideas start to arrive, small, shy. You wake up one day wanting to clean the windows so more light comes in. You feel like calling someone. These are the first sprouts of your new life. Be careful here. Do not launch yourself like crazy yet. The sprouts are fragile. If the pendulum starts to rise, do not push it. Let it gather inertia. Start with small actions. Write one page, make one call. Walk for 20 minutes. Do not try to recover lost time in one day. Come out of hibernation slowly, stretching and yawning. Enjoy the return of the light. The next time life puts you on pause, do not hit the remote control. Do not judge yourself. Do not call yourself lazy. Do not medicate the normal sadness of life, unless it is pathological, of course. Understand that you have been gifted time. Time to be, not to do. Time to be with yourself without a mask. Winter is the only time you can see the stars, because it is the only time there is enough darkness. Learn to navigate in the dark. Learn to trust your night vision. And remember, bamboo does not grow by chance. It grows because it spent 5 years investing in what no one saw. Your greatness is forged now in the silence. It is forged when no one applauds. Do the dirty work, do the internal work. Because the pendulum is already accumulating strength, the rise is coming, and it will be dizzying. The question is, will you be ready to sustain that energy when it arrives? Will you have the roots to support the success that is coming? Prepare your base now. Chapter 5. Surfing the Tsunami. There is a mountaineering statistic that should chill your blood. Most deaths on Everest do not occur during the ascent. They occur during the descent, just after having reached the summit. Why? Because the summit intoxicates. When you reach the top, chemical euphoria floods your brain. You feel like a god. You feel truly invincible. In that state of delusional omnipotence, you lower your guard. You forget the safety rules. You spend oxygen you do not have, and the mountain, which is indifferent to your ego, kills you. The same happens in life. We have talked a lot about how to survive the winter, but no one teaches us how to survive the summer. It's a dangerous gap. No one warns us that the midnight sun can burn your retina and leave you blind. When the pendulum swings violently to the right, when money flows in, when love is perfect, when fame arrives, you enter the zone of greatest metaphysical danger. You are riding a giant wave, a tsunami of positive energy. You must learn to ride it with skill. If you know how to surf it, it will take you to shores of unimaginable abundance. If you do not know how to manage it, if you let the wave toss you around, the force of the impact will smash you against the rocks. Welcome to Chapter 5. Today we will talk about the pathology of success. We will learn to keep a cool head when the heart is on fire. We will discover that humility is not a moral virtue for good people, but a strategic defense mechanism to prevent the law of rhythm from beheading you. We will analyze the mechanics of the peak to ensure that your rise does not become the cause of your own destruction. The higher you go, the more stability you need at your core. The drunkenness of high altitudes. Let's analyze the neurochemistry of the winner. When you win, your brain releases a cocktail of dopamine, serotonin, and testosterone. It is the most powerful drug that exists. It is called the winner effect. Biologically, you feel bigger. Your posture changes. Your risk tolerance increases. Your fear disappears. You feel like a king. And here the inflated ego is born. The ego, in its infinite arrogance, commits the fundamental attribution error. This is happening because I am a genius. Success is mine. I created it. I am special. The rules no longer apply to me. You start to believe you have the Midas touch. You think everything you touch will turn into gold. You forget the law of rhythm. You forget that you are up not only because of your effort, but because the cosmic tide is rising. And since you believe you are invincible, you start making stupid mistakes. You lose your perspective. Arrogance blinds you to the shifts in the wind that signal the end of the current season. Be very careful. You spend more than you earn, assuming you will always earn more. 2. You treat your employees or your partner with contempt, believing you are indispensable. 3. You take unnecessary risks, believing luck is your slave. This arrogance is the trigger for the fall. The Greeks called it hubris, and they knew nemesis always follows. Metaphysically, hubris is a provocation to the pendulum. By stretching the rubber band to the extreme of I am God, you are creating a brutal tension that will launch you to the extreme of I am a worm. The universe does not punish success. It punishes identification with success. It punishes the loss of balance and the denial of law. The acceleration trap. When you are on a winning streak, the natural instinct is to accelerate. If I have gained 10 doing this, I'm going to do twice as much to gain 20. It is the greed of inertia. You want to squeeze the summer. You want the party to never end. But physics has a speed limit. If you drive at 200 km/h, a small stone makes you flip over. When you're in high energy, everything moves very fast. Decisions are made in seconds. Consequences are magnified. The fatal error is pressing the accelerator to the floor just as you are reaching the curve of the cycle change. The law of rhythm says after expansion comes contraction. If you keep expanding, you will get hung up. You will be left with a huge inventory no one wants to buy. You will be left with a giant house you cannot afford. The tsunami master knows when to break. They know how to identify the saturation point. They say, okay, it's been an incredible streak, but trees don't grow to the sky. I'm going to start taking chips off the table. Greed breaks the bag. Prudence sows it. By consolidating your gains instead of betting everything again, you secure your position. You understand that the goal is not to win the most in one moment, but to stay in the game for the long run. Wisdom is knowing when the momentum has reached its natural limit before the pendulum turns back. The anchor of humility, protection strategy. How do we prevent the pendulum from hitting us back with a misfortune equivalent to our success? By using the law of compensation voluntarily. The best shield against the envy of gods and men is radical humility, but not false modesty. I speak of ontological humility. It is recognizing that you are not the source but the canal. It is saying, energy is flowing through me. I am grateful to be the instrument, but I do not appropriate the glory. When you attribute success 100% to yourself, you carry all the weight. You become dense. You become an easy target. When you attribute success to the law, to luck, or the team, you become transparent. You stay light. The wind of the pendulum passes through you without knocking you down. If you are at the top, crouch down, do not strut. The higher you rise, the lower your internal profile should be. Serve more. Give thanks more. Humility acts as ballast in the boat. It prevents the boat from capsizing when the wind of euphoria blows too strong. Harvest management, the fat cows. The biblical story of Joseph and the Pharaoh is the definitive manual of rhythmic economy. Pharaoh dreams of 7 fat cows and 7 lean cows. Joseph interprets 7 years of brutal abundance, high energy, are coming, followed by 7 years of total famine, low energy. What is the strategy? During the years of fat cows, do not eat all the grain. Save 20%, 30%, or 50% in the barns. Store, save, invest in safe assets. It seems obvious, but humans do the opposite. When we earn more, we spend more. This is lifestyle inflation. We buy the sports car, we go to the Maldives, we believe the fat cows are immortal. We ignore the coming winter until it is far too late to prepare for it. When the lean cows arrive, and they always arrive, they find us naked, with debts and rich habits we can no longer maintain. Then comes the ruin. High energy management consists of using summer to secure winter. When you have extra energy, money, or health, do not waste it. Transmute it. Turn the volatile into the solid. Build security. Turn liquid money into properties or safe investments. Turn the passion of falling in love into deep commitment and friendship. Turn fame into prestige and lasting work. You are building the bunker while the sun shines. If you do this, when winter comes, you will not suffer. You will live like a king on what you stored away. The tall poppy syndrome, social danger. There is an external danger in success, the others. In Australia, they call it the tall poppy syndrome. If a flower grows taller than others in the field, it is the first to be cut by the mower. Society tolerates moderate success, but hates unmeasured success. Envy is a real and destructive energetic force. It is a powerful shadow. When you are surfing the tsunami, you shine brightly, and your brightness casts shadows on others. You remind them of what they have not achieved. Unconsciously, they will want to bring you down. They will criticize you. They will betray you. They will ask for money and get offended if you don't give it. You must stay guarded. The master of high energy practices strategic silence. Do not go around shouting your happiness to the 4 winds. Do not publish every cent you earn. Do not rub your perfect love in the faces of your single and sad friends. That is not sharing, it is provoking. Share your success only with those on your frequency. Be very selective. With the rest, be kind but reserved. Protect yourself. The tsunami is for you to surf, not to drown the neighbors. If you become too visible, you become a lightning rod. And lightning seeks the highest point. By maintaining a modest exterior while possessing vast interior wealth, you navigate the social world without attracting nemesis. Grounding, anchoring to earth. High energy is electrical, mental, and airy. It detaches you from the ground. Literally, you can feel blown away. You lose touch with practical reality. You need grounding. When you are in a phase of great success or positive stress, you need to force yourself to do mundane things. You need to reconnect with the physical world. Wash the dishes, walk barefoot on the grass, play with your dog, go to the gym and lift heavy weights. Eat root vegetables like potatoes and carrots, foods that grow underground. These activities lower the energy from the head, where the madness of the ego occurs, to the body, where the biological truth is. You need to stay human. They prevent you from losing your head. Many famous artists go crazy because they live permanently in the stratosphere of fame and lose their roots. You are the tree. The higher you want to touch the sky, the deeper your roots must sink into the mud. Do not despise the mud. The mud sustains you, it keeps you stable in the wind. Memento mori, the handbrake. Roman emperors, when parading triumphantly through Rome after a victory, had a slave behind them in the chariot whispering, Memento mori, remember that you will die. Remember that you are only a man. It was a psychological safety mechanism. It was the handbrake so the emperor would not believe he was a god and commit follies. When you are at the top, practice your own memento mori. Visit a cemetery. Read biographies of fallen empires. Remind yourself that this is temporary. The applause will cease. Beauty will wrinkle. Money will pass to other hands. This is not to depress you. It is to give you perspective. It allows you to value the moment even more. Knowing that success is ephemeral makes you value it more through gratitude and attach to it less, which is freedom. It allows you to enjoy the party, knowing that at 3 a.m. the lights will turn on and someone will have to sweep. If you know the party ends, you do not despair when it ends. You go home smiling with your shoes in hand. Adrenaline addiction. The tsunami is addictive. Living on the edge, closing million-dollar deals, living torrid romances, it generates an addiction to adrenaline and cortisol. When the natural cycle begins to move toward calm, the tsunami addict feels bored. They feel withdrawal. Then they create artificial problems just to maintain the intensity. They fight with their partner to have the adrenaline of reconciliation. They make risky investments to feel fear. They sabotage their own peace because peace feels like death. You must learn to detox from intensity. You must learn to enjoy still waters. After the tsunami, the sea stays flat. This is the time for restoration. That is not boring, it is peace. Learn to sit on the beach and look at the calm sea without needing giant waves. If you do not learn to love the calm, you will destroy your life just to feel alive. Mastery is the ability to be just as present in the silence as you are in the roar. True power is found in the stillness of the center. The smooth transition, the landing. Every high-energy cycle ends. The question is, how do you want to end it? With a crash or with a smooth landing? The crash occurs when you deny that the cycle is changing and keep accelerating until you hit the wall of reality. The landing occurs when you detect the wind change and start to descend voluntarily. You must be alert. When you see the first signs that energy is dropping, the market cools, passion stabilizes, you feel a bit tired, do not fight. Pull in the sails, reduce speed. Say, thank you, it's been an incredible journey. Now it's time to rest. Accompany the pendulum in its descent. If you descend voluntarily, it does not hurt, it's a choice. If you resist, the law will throw you out of the window. Accept the change of season with elegance. Autumn has its own beauty. Do not try to stick the leaves to the trees with glue. Let them fall. By letting go of the peak, you prepare the space for the next cycle to begin. The end of one wave is the beginning of the next one's birth. The leader's responsibility. If you are a leader of a family, a company, a community, your responsibility is double. You are the one in charge of managing the group's energy. When everyone is euphoric and drunk with success, you must be the sober one. You must be the one saying, "Save the champagne, we have to work tomorrow." You are the voice of balance. You must be the one who sees the iceberg when everyone is looking at the fireworks, and vice versa. When everyone is depressed in winter, you must be the one who maintains faith in summer. The leader is the counterweight of the collective pendulum. If the leader gets drunk with the mass, the ship goes adrift. Stay vigilant, stay sober, stay watchful. Enjoy, yes, but do not lose the helm. By maintaining your center, you stabilize everyone around you. You become the reference point that ensures the survival of the group through both the highs and the lows. Your mastery of the law of rhythm is the greatest gift you can offer those who follow your lead. Surfing a tsunami is the most glorious experience of human life. It is the moment when everything flows, everything shines, and everything is possible. I am not telling you not to enjoy it. Enjoy it to the last drop. Drink life, but drink it like a connoisseur, not like an alcoholic. Savor it, but do not lose your consciousness. Remember, success is not a place where you stay to live. Success is a season, and like all seasons, it will pass. The only thing you will have left when the wave passes is who you have become while you surfed it. Have you become an arrogant monster, or have you become a wise, grateful human being? The harvest is within your soul. Your barn is full. You have saved for the winter. Now you can relax. But there is a specific area where rhythm causes brutal havoc and where most people have deep wounds. Money. In the next chapter, we are going to apply all this to your wallet. We are going to learn to breathe economically. We will learn to master our abundance. We will discover why the fear of poverty is what creates poverty, and how to maintain wealth consciousness even when the account marks zero. Get ready for the breath of money. You are about to transform your relationship with the material world forever. The flow of gold follows the flow of the spirit. Master your rhythm now. Chapter 6: The Breath of Money. Of all the forms of energy that exist on this planet, there is one that has the capacity to enslave the human mind faster than any drug, religion, or ideology. It is a piece of paper, glowing digits on a screen, a cold metal. We call it money. We have built our self-esteem, our security, and our identity around it. It is a powerful force. If we have a lot, we feel like gods. If we have little, we feel like trash. We live terrified by its absence and obsessed with its accumulation. And in that collective neurosis, we have forgotten the fundamental nature of what money is. Look at it linguistically. In English, we call it currency. It comes from the Latin currens. It flows. Currens means to run or to flow. It means current. In economics, money in motion is called circulating. Do you see it? Language does not lie. Money is not a static thing to be kept in a safe. Money is a current. It is water. It is blood. It is air. And like every fluid in the universe, it is subject to the law of rhythm. It must move. Money must move. It must come in and go out. It must rise and fall. The problem is that you want to inhale, earn, without exhaling, spending. You want the tide to rise and never fall. You want to stop the circulation and accumulate blood in a single point. That in medicine is called gangrene. In economics, it is a crisis. It is death. In metaphysics, it is called poverty. Welcome to Chapter 6. Today we are going to heal your relationship with abundance. We are going to stop seeing the drop in income as a tragedy and start seeing it as a necessary exhalation. We will learn to breathe economically. Only those not afraid to be empty can be filled again. It is the law. Financial systole and diastole. Let's go back to the heart. Your heart makes two movements: systole, contraction, expulsion, and diastole, relaxation, filling. Your economy is a giant heart. 1. The inhalation phase, diastole, is when money comes in. Sales, salary, profits. It is the moment to fill up. It is the financial summer. We love this phase. We feel powerful. The exhalation phase, systole, is when money goes out. Expenses, bills, investments, taxes. It is the financial winter. We hate this phase. We feel robbed, diminished, and scared. The fundamental error is believing that exhalation is bad. If your heart stopped pumping blood out, spending, it could not receive new blood. It ends. The system would collapse. Paying a bill is not losing money. It is circulating energy so the system stays alive. Buying bread is exhaling money to inhale life. When you understand this, you stop paying with pain. Most people, when they pay for light or rent, feel a contraction in their stomach. They feel like something is torn away. They emit a vibration of loss and fear. That vibration is an order to the universe. I hate it when money goes out. And the universe, obedient to the law of rhythm, says, if you don't want it to go out, we will close the valve. But if you close the output valve, the input valve also closes. By blocking spending, you block your future gain. The pathology of economic constipation. Imagine a body that eats and eats, but refuses to go to the bathroom because it is afraid of losing what it ate. It would die of toxicity in days. That is what misers and those living in a scarcity mindset do. They suffer from economic constipation. They accumulate, they withhold, they do not invest, they do not enjoy or share. They are afraid that if they let go of a cent, it will never return. Stagnant money rots. Rotten energy attracts misfortune. We often see very stingy people who suddenly suffer an accident or illness that forces them to spend everything they saved with such fear. It is the law of compensation, Chapter 2, breaking the dam by force. The energy has to move. If you do not move it with joy, investment, enjoyment, life will move it with pain, accidents, losses. The master of the breath of money does not withhold. He channels. He is a clean tube. Money comes in, he appreciates it, uses it, enjoys it, and lets it go with the absolute certainty that more will come. It is flow. He does not trust the money in his pocket, which is finite. He trusts the source, which is infinite. He knows he is the riverbed, not the dam. By allowing the flow to remain open, he ensures that the supply is never interrupted. He understands that the act of giving is the very thing that triggers the act of receiving. He is at peace. The illusion of the straight line again. In the corporate world, there is the fantasy of infinite growth. Companies want to earn more every quarter forever. This is a violation of the law of rhythm. It is a cancer. Cancer is the only thing in nature that grows without stopping until it kills the host. In your personal life, you cannot expect to earn more linearly. There will be months of expansion and months of contraction. There will be years of fat cows and years of lean cows. Accepting this is the key to financial mental health. When the personal recession arrives, sales drop, you are fired, you lose an investment. Do not panic. Do not say, I have failed, I am poor. That is a mental trap. Say to the rhythm has changed. We are in exhalation. It is time to reorganize, optimize, and prepare for the next inhalation. Poverty is not the temporary lack of money. Poverty is the panic reaction to the lack of money. If you react with fear, you freeze the cycle in the low phase. You turn a 3-month winter into a 10-year ice age. Fear freezes the flow. Let's talk about fluid physics. Water flows when it is liquid, hot motion. Water stops when it is ice, cold paralysis. Fear is cold. Fear contracts. When you have fear for your economic future, you contract physically and energetically. You become small. You stop calling clients. You stop seeking opportunities. You hide to save. Vibrationally, you emit the signal of, there is none. And the universe reflects, there is none. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy. To get out of an economic crisis, you need heat. You need movement. Paradoxically, when you have the least money is when you most need to move the energy. I don't mean spending on nonsense. Move now. I mean making bold moves of consciousness. 1. Invite someone to a coffee, even if it's the last thing you have. Break the pattern of, I don't have. 2. Give away something you no longer use. Create a vacuum. 3. Invest time and energy in a new project with enthusiasm, not desperation. Enthusiasm melts the ice, faith melts the ice. Money is attracted to high energy. Money flees from desperate energy. No one wants to buy from a desperate seller who smells of hunger. Everyone wants to buy from the successful seller who seems like they don't need your money. Fake the energy until you have it. Neutralize the fear, Chapter 3, and act from confidence. Be the flow. Wealth consciousness versus bank balance. Here is the most important metaphysical distinction. Your bank balance is the past. Your wealth consciousness is the present. What you see in your account today is the fossilized result of your thoughts and actions of yesterday. It is a dead star. You cannot drive a car looking only through the rearview mirror. It is dangerous. If you look at your balance zero and feel poor, you are perpetuating the zero for tomorrow. The master dissociates his identity from his balance. He may be in technical bankruptcy without cash, but never in mental poverty. He knows wealth is a state of being, an ability to generate value, a connection to infinite abundance. It's real. Walt Disney, Henry Ford, Steve Jobs, they were all bankrupt at some point. But they were not poor. They were rich without money temporarily. They knew money was an inevitable consequence of their creativity. When you are in the low part of the cycle, repeat, my account is empty, but my consciousness is full. It will fill up soon. As within, so without, the account will inevitably fill up to match my consciousness. Maintain the dignity of the king even in exile. Do not beg. Do not lower yourself. Dignity is a magnet for gold. Pity is a repellent. Hold your head high and stay connected to the source, and the material world will have to reorganize to serve you. The law of the vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum. If you create an empty space, the air rushes in to fill it. If you want new clothes, give away the old ones. Empty the closet. If you want new money, release the attachment to old money. Many are stuck financially because their house, mind, and life are cluttered with old and useless things. Nothing new fits. The universe looks and says, "I cannot give you more, your hands are full of trash." Let go clean. Pay debts. Paying debts is the best way to make a vacuum. It is releasing trapped energy from the past. When you pay a debt, do not think, "I'm left with less money." Think, "I am reclaiming my freedom." It is a powerful energetic cut. I am cutting an energetic chain. I am making space for net abundance. Pay with a smile. Paying is demonstrating solvency. By clearing your financial past, you signal to the universe that you are ready and capable of managing a greater flow of wealth. The vacuum you create today is the magnetic field that will pull in your tomorrow. The art of conscious spending, blessing money. Transform your spending habits. Stop spending unconsciously, energy leak, and start circulating consciously. There is a Japanese technique called arigato money, thank you money. Every time you receive money, say, "Arigato, thank you." Bless it. Every time you pay money, say, "Arigato, bless it." Wish well to the money that leaves. Tell it mentally. Go, feed others, spin the wheel of the economy, and come back to me multiplied with friends. When you treat money like a friend going on a trip, who will return, you remove the burden of anguish. Money responds to love. If you love money from appreciation, not greed, money will want to be with you, it stays. If you hate it, money is dirty, damn bills, it will stay away from you. Who wants to be in the house of someone who insults them? Shift your internal narrative from resentment to gratitude and watch as the physical currency begins to behave differently in your life. You are the host of the energy. Make it feel welcome and loved. Surviving the economic winter, practical strategy. What do we do when the cycle is truly down, when there is nothing for rent? Here we apply the mastery of winter, Chapter 4, to finances. 1. Strategic reduction, not from fear. Reduce expenses, yes, but not because you are poor, but to concentrate power. Eliminate the superfluous to protect the essential. It is a strategic prune. Investment in the root. If you cannot invest money, invest time in your mind, learn a new skill, read finance books, improve your product, increase your intrinsic value. When the market rises, and it will be better positioned than anyone. Use the downtime to sharpen your tools for the coming summer of plenty. Be ready. Do not sell your soul. In desperation, the temptation is to take jobs you hate or do shady business for quick money. Don't do it. That is bread for today, and hunger and karma for tomorrow. Maintain your standard. The law of rhythm rewards integrity. 4. Active patience. Keep sowing. Send resumes, calls, content. Keep moving. Even if you don't see immediate results, the bamboo is underground. Keep sowing. The statistics play in your favor. If you throw the dice enough times, the 6 will come out. The winter is just a test of your endurance and your faith. If you stay the course with dignity, the law guarantees that your spring will be more than worth it. Rhythmic investment, buying when there is blood. Baron Rothschild said, "The time to buy is when there is blood in the streets, even if the blood is your own." This is the master application of the law of rhythm. The mass buys in summer, when everything is expensive and euphoric, and sells in winter, when everything falls and there is panic. The master does the opposite. He is calm. When the recession arrives, when everyone screams, "It's the end of the world," the master smiles. He knows it is the moment of the cosmic sale. Assets, stocks, real estate, talents are cheap. It is the time to sow. It requires a stomach of steel and blind faith in the rhythm, knowing it will rise. That is how dynasties are built. If you learn to see economic crises not as disasters, but as season sales, your fear disappears and is replaced by opportunity. You stop being a victim of the economy and become its beneficiary. By moving against the herd, you harness the full power of the pendulum as it prepares to swing back toward prosperity and massive wealth. The flow of giving, the metaphysical tithe. There is a law within the law. To receive, you must first give. It is the principle of the manual water pump. You have to pour in a little water first, so the pump works and pulls water from the well. If you are dry, give. It sounds counterintuitive. If I have none, how can I give? Give what you have, give time, give service now. Give a coin. The act of giving is the supreme demonstration of faith in abundance. It tells the universe, I have so much that I can even give away. That signal is irresistible. The universe must match it by giving you more. The greatest billionaires are often the greatest philanthropists. They give because they understand the flow. Establish a constant outflow, a small percentage, 1%, 5%, 10%, toward causes that inspire you. Keep the back door open, and the front door will never close. By being a conduit for blessing others, you ensure that the source continues to pour its riches through you. You become a vital part of the universal circulation of abundance. Identification with the source, provision. Finally, you must break the illusion that your source is your job or your clients. Your job is not your source. Your job is a channel. Your clients are not your source. They are channels. The source is the infinite intelligence, God, universe, life. Channels can break, you can be fired, the client can leave. It is okay. Stay calm. If you believe the channel is the source, you are terrified when it breaks. But if you know the source is the source, you do not worry. This channel broke. Okay, the source will open another immediately. This security makes you invincible. You cease to be a slave to your boss or your market. You are connected to the main power supply. You know your provision is assured by divine law, as long as you stay in the frequency of abundance. Money may change shape, currency, or arrival method, but the current never dries up for the one connected to the ocean. You are a sovereign being of the universe, and all the riches of creation are available to you through your alignment. The breath of wealth. Money is air. Inhale deeply, hold the breath. How long can you hold it? Soon your lungs will burn. You will turn purple. You will wish to let it go. Money is the same. Do not try to hold it forever. Enjoy the inhalation, earning. Enjoy the exhalation, spending, investing, giving. Both are parts of life. Both are rich and necessary. If you are in economic winter right now, remember, it is not a mistake, it is a pause. It is the moment to take air before blowing. It is the moment to sharpen the axe. Do not lose dignity. Do not lose faith. And above all, do not lose generosity. Your bank account is not you. You are the creator of the bank account. You are more. The creator is always greater than his creation. Money comes and goes. But there is something that, when it leaves, we often feel will never return. Something that hurts us more than poverty. People. Relationships also have systole and diastole. Love also needs to breathe. In the next chapter, we will learn to master the rhythm of the heart. Chapter 7, The Dance of Distance. We have been sold a devastating cultural lie, the myth of the better half. They have told us that true love is fusion, two becoming one. They have told us that if you love someone, you must want to be with that person all the time. That distance is a sign of lack of love. That silence is a sign of danger. It is a false ideal. We have built an ideal of love that is static, clingy, and suffocating. We want the honeymoon to last 50 years. We want the passion of the first day to be frozen in time. And when, inevitably, rhythm does its job and the tide goes out, we panic. They are distant. Something is wrong. I have to fix it. It is a rhythmic mistake. And then you commit the cardinal error, pursuing. You try to force closeness when the rhythm asks for distance. You try to open the flower with your hands, and in doing so, you destroy the only thing that keeps desire alive: polarity. Welcome to Chapter 7. Today we will learn that love is not a fixed state. It is a dance. In every dance, there are moments to move closer and moments to move away. We are going to discover that distance is not the end of love, but the oxygen that allows the fire to burn again. Prepare to release control over your relationships. Learn to trust the natural swing of the pendulum and embrace the space between souls. Space is the oxygen of fire. Let's start with elementary physics. To make fire, you need three things: fuel, heat, and oxygen. If you have plenty of wood, love, and plenty of sparks, passion, but you cover the fire with a heavy blanket to protect it, the fire goes out. It suffocates. Fire needs air. It needs space between the logs to breathe and grow. In relationships, space is the oxygen. When you fall in love, the pendulum's rising phase, a chemical fusion occurs. The ego's boundaries dissolve. You become us. It is a wonderful drug, but it is biologically unsustainable. If you stay in that permanent state of fusion, you lose your individuality. You stop being you. And if you stop being you, who did your partner fall in love with? They fell in love with a fascinating, mysterious, and autonomous individual. If you kill the individual to feed the couple, you kill the source of attraction. Rhythm demands that after a period of intense intimacy, there must be a period of autonomy. You need to step away to find yourself again. You need to refill your own cup to have something to offer. If you do not pull away, you become an energetic leech, demanding that the other person constantly fill you up. Only by being two complete whole beings can you share a life without consuming one another's essence. The rubber band theory. Author John Gray popularized a perfect metaphor for the masculine rhythm, the rubber band. A man gets very close to his partner, intimacy. He fills himself with love, but in doing so, he feels he is losing his self, his sense of freedom and mission. Then, instinctively, he needs to pull away. It is a natural reflex. He stretches like a rubber band. He goes to his cave. He becomes silent, focuses on work, or simply gets distracted. It is not that he has stopped loving. It is that he needs to recover his form. If the partner understands the rhythm, they stay calm. They know the rubber band, stretched to its limit, must snap back. The return is inevitable and passionate. But what does the ego, ignorant of rhythm, do? It feels the distance and enters a panic of abandonment. The partner runs after him. What's wrong? Why are you being weird? Talk to me. By pursuing him, she shortens the rubber band. She eliminates the tension, it kills the momentum. And if the rubber band is not tense, it has no force to return. He pulls away further to find the necessary tension. She pursues him more, and the cycle of the pursuer and the distancer is created. He feels suffocated. She feels abandoned. Love dies not because of a lack of feeling, but because of a lack of rhythm. The feminine wave. Feminine energy also has its rhythm. It is a wave, it rises and falls. One day she is radiant, full of love, capable of giving everything. The next day, for no apparent reason, the wave breaks and falls into the well. She feels empty, sad, insecure, or unloved. Nothing external has happened. It is a deep internal cycle. It is the rhythm of feminine nature, lunar. The masculine energy, usually linear and logical, tries to fix the wave. Don't be sad. Look at all we have. There is no reason for this. He tries to stop the rhythm. Error. The wave cannot be stopped. It must be surfed. When she is down, she needs presence and security. She needs to know that he is not afraid of her darkness. If he stands firm like a rock on the beach, while the wave breaks, she feels safe, and the wave naturally rises again, with more brilliance and love than before. If he gets angry or scared by the mood shift, the wave becomes a destructive tsunami. Trust the water. The ego's panic before the void. Why do we struggle so much to respect distance? Because we have an anxious attachment. We have placed our emotional stability in the hands of the other. We use our partner as an anti-anxiety drug. If you are near, I am calm. If you are silent, I crumble. That is not love, it is emotional parasitism. It is a burden. When the rhythm of the relationship enters winter, distance, silence, routine, your ego screams, "Danger, I'm going to be left alone." You react from fear. You send 20 messages. You make scenes. You cry. You are vibrating in scarcity. And as we saw before, scarcity repels. No one is attracted to someone begging for love. Neediness is the most potent anti-aphrodisiac in the world. It kills mystery, it kills respect. When you pursue someone who is pulling away, you are energetically telling them, "I am worthless without you." That low vibration makes the other want to leave faster. We want to be with kings and queens, not with beggars. The rhythmic mirror technique, neutralization in love. So what do we do when our partner pulls away? What do we do when we feel the cold? We apply neutralization and the law of correspondence. The golden rule is, never walk towards someone who is walking backward. If your partner takes a step back, you do not take a step forward. You take a step back as well, stay in center. Or better yet, you stay still in your center. Not out of resentment, but out of respect for the rhythm and self-dignity. If they become cold or distant, 1. Do not ask, "What's wrong?" Assume it is their natural cycle. 2. Withdraw your attention. Stop focusing your laser beam on them. Focus on yourself. Reclaim your power. Go back to your garden. Water your plants. Go out with friends. Read your book. Exercise. Trust the return. Maintain the internal certainty that everything that is mine returns. By doing this, 2 miracles happen. First, you stop suffering because you are busy with your life. Second, you create a vacuum by pulling back. Nature abhors a vacuum. Your partner, who pulled away seeking space, suddenly feels they have too much space. They feel that you are not there waiting like a faithful dog. They feel you are shining on your own. And that generates curiosity and desire. The rubber band tenses, and snap, they come running back to you. The lighthouse versus the boat. Imagine that you are a lighthouse on the coast. Your partner is a boat. Sometimes the boat goes out to the high seas to explore. It moves away. The lighthouse does not tear itself from the rocks and jump into the water to swim after the boat, screaming, "Don't leave me." If it did, the light would go out and the ship would crash. The lighthouse stays still. Its only job is to shine, to keep its light on, strong and stable. The boat goes away, lives its adventures, gets tired, and when it looks toward the coast, it sees the light, and that light guides it back home. Be the lighthouse. Your stability is what makes the relationship work. Stay firm. If you move to the beat of the other's instability, you are both lost at sea. Someone has to maintain the frequency. When your partner is in emotional chaos, you stay in the calm. Do not join their chaos. Offer them your stillness. That is irresistible. It provides the safety needed for them to navigate back to your side. The cycles of boredom, the desert. In every long relationship, the dreaded day arrives. Boredom. The initial dopamine has run out. You know all the jokes. Sex becomes routine. The pendulum has reached the bottom dead center. Culture tells us the magic is over. Get a divorce. The law of rhythm says, you are in winter, it is time to go deeper. Boredom is not a sign of death. It is a sign of security. The nervous system has relaxed. There is no longer danger or novelty. This is where companion love is built. But for passion to return, spring, there must be novelty. And novelty does not come from changing partners. That is just a superficial restart. It comes from you. Novelty comes from changing yourself. If the relationship is stagnant, it is because you are stagnant as individuals. You stopped growing. You stopped being interesting to each other because you fuse too much. To reactivate the rhythm, break the routine, do things separately, learn new skills, bring fresh meat, your new self. The 7-year crisis, rhythmic nodes. Astrology and psychology observe 7-year cycles. At 7, 14, 21 years, the cells of the body have changed, and the psyche asks for an update. Many couples break up at these nodes. They feel they no longer have anything in common. It's true. Version 1.0 of the couple has expired. But you don't have to break up. You have to break the old contract. You have to renegotiate. Who are we now? What do we want now? Couples that last a lifetime are not just one couple. They are 2 people who have had 5 or 6 different marriages with the same person. They have known how to die and be reborn together. They have accepted the cycle. If you cling to how we were at the beginning, you kill the future. The beginning was summer. Now perhaps it is time for a mature and rich autumn. Enjoy the season you are in. By allowing the old version of the relationship to die, you clear the ground for a newer, deeper, and more powerful connection to grow in its place. The dance of seduction, tug of war. Seduction is not something you do at the beginning and forget. Seduction is the conscious management of rhythm throughout life. It is the game of tug of war. If you are always available, your perceived value drops. If you are always slackening the rope, giving everything, there is no tension. No tension means no desire. Every now and then you have to pull. You have to set boundaries. You have to say no. You have to prioritize yourself. A little uncertainty is an aphrodisiac. Knowing that your partner loves you, but could live without you if necessary, is what keeps them alert and in love. If they know you can't leave, they take you for granted. Maintain your sovereignty. Let your partner feel they have to earn you a little every day, and you feel that you have to earn them. That gentle friction keeps the fire burning. It is the dynamic balance between belonging and freedom that creates the space where true passionate love can continue to flourish for decades. The gift of shared solitude. The poet Rainer Maria Rilke gave the best definition of rhythmic love. Love consists in this, that two solitudes protect and border and salute each other. Not two halves, two solitudes, two totalities. Rhythm in relationships requires that you love your own solitude. If you don't know how to be alone, you will use the other. You will use the other as entertainment. If you love your solitude, time with the other is a gift, not a necessity. Learn to be together in the same room, each doing their own thing, without speaking, without interacting, but energetically connected. That is real intimacy, not constant chatter but comfortable shared silence. The illusion of the right person. Many times we blame the other for the problems of rhythm. If I were with the right person, we would always be fine. False. With the right person, the pendulum will also swing. There will also be winters. There will also be boredom. The difference is that with the conscious person, you can talk about the weather. You can say, honey, we are in winter. We are disconnected. It's okay, let's wrap up warm, let's have patience, and let's wait for spring to return. When both understand the law, the drama ends. The guilt ends. You stop taking the other's distance as a personal attack. You understand it is an energetic process. Trust the law. He is in his cave recharging. She is in her wave coming down. Respect, space, trust. That is mature love. It is the ability to hold the vision of the union even when the physical or emotional feeling is temporarily absent. By respecting the rhythm, you ensure that the connection remains unbreakable through all seasons. The reunion, the reward. Why is it worth enduring the distance? For the reunion. There is nothing more delicious than the moment the pendulum returns. Reconciliation sex, or reunion after a trip, is explosive. Conversation after days of silence is rich and new. Distance cleanses the palate. It restores the value of the other in your eyes. It allows you to see the other with new eyes, not as just another piece of furniture. If you eliminate distance, you eliminate the pleasure of reunion. You live on a lukewarm and boring flat line. Dare to miss. Dare to be missed. Nostalgia is a sweet condiment if it is not stretched too long. It makes the heart grow fonder. Next time you feel your relationship cooling down, don't burn the house down. Don't call the fire department, simply put on a sweater. Observe the rhythm. Have you been too close lately? Perhaps you need air. Have you been too focused on work? Perhaps you need contact. Be the conductor of the relationship. If you see the music is fading, do not scream. Wait for the entry beat. And above all, let go of fear. What is yours will return. What is not yours will leave. And the rhythm will be doing you a favor by taking it. Love is freedom. Bind someone, and they will want to escape. Let them go, and they will return every night. They will return to your side, not because they must, but because they want to. And that free wanting is the only love worth having. But there are moments where the drop is not just a cooling down. There are moments where life hits us with unusual violence, a total bankruptcy, a death, a devastating betrayal. Stay ready. The pendulum goes so far back that it seems the rope will break. We feel stretched to the limit. But remember the physics. The further back the rubber band is stretched, the further the arrow goes. The magnitude of your current struggle is the blueprint for the magnitude of your future victory. Hold your center. Chapter 8. The Spring Effect. There are moments in life when you don't simply drop in energy or enter a cold season. There are moments when you feel life grab you by the neck and violently drag you backward. Everything you had built crumbles. You lose your status, your money, your reputation. You feel like you are regressing at full speed. It feels like a tragedy. You look at your peers and see them advancing, while you, who were at the head of the race, seem to have been thrown into last place. The feeling is one of brutal cosmic injustice. The ego screams, "I worked so hard. Why is this happening to me? I am losing ground. I am going back to square one." You feel humiliated and stretched thin. You feel stretched to the breaking point. You feel a pressure in your chest that prevents you from breathing. I have urgent news for you, news that will change your despair into electric anticipation. You are not regressing. You are being tensioned. Imagine a bow and an arrow. For the arrow to fly far, the archer must pull back first. For the arrow to fly far toward a target the eye can barely see, the archer cannot simply let it go. He has to do something that seems contradictory. He has to pull the arrow backward. The further he wants the arrow to go, the further back he must pull the string. He has to create an unbearable tension until the wood of the bow creaks. If the arrow had consciousness, in that moment of maximum regression it would think, I am moving away from my goal, they are sinking me. But the arrow does not understand physics. The archer does. The archer knows that this backward movement is the only way to accumulate the potential energy necessary for the flight. You are that arrow. Welcome to Chapter 8. Today we are going to reframe your crisis. We are going to stop seeing it as a misfortune and start seeing it as a propulsion system. We are going to discover the spring effect. If life has pulled you back with violence, get ready, because by physical law you are about to be shot forward with sonic speed. Potential energy versus kinetic energy. Let's talk about basic physics. A stone on the ground has no energy, it is inert. If you want that stone to break a wall, you have to load it with energy. How do you do it? You put it in a slingshot and pull the rubber band backward. In that moment of regression, you are transferring energy to the stone, you are loading the system. You are converting negative movement, backward, into elastic potential energy. The more you pull, the more energy you store. The crisis is the slingshot of God. When your life is going well, linear and calm, you have little potential energy. You advance step by step through linear growth. But the universe wants you to make a quantum leap. It wants you to go from earning 1 to earning 100. It wants you to go from being an employee to being a world leader. You cannot make that leap by walking. You need to be propelled. And to propel you, the universe needs to create tension. It needs a crisis. The crisis, divorce, bankruptcy, illness, is the charging mechanism of your soul. It takes away your comfort. It takes away your security. It forces you to look for internal resources you didn't know you had. It compresses you. You feel crushed. But you are not being crushed. You are being compacted. You are accumulating power. The tragic mistake most make is surrendering at the point of maximum tension. Stay firm. Just when the rubber band is about to be released, they say, I can't take it anymore, this is the end, and they let themselves fall to the ground, wasting all the accumulated energy. If you endure the tension, if you stay aligned at the point of maximum pain, the shot is inevitable. The release is a mathematical certainty of life, the illusion of regression. We live obsessed with visible progress. We want to see results every day. We want to see the graph go up. When the spring effect occurs, the graph plummets. From the outside, it looks like a total failure. Look at so-and-so. He had a successful company, and now he lives at his parents' house. The world judges you, your ego judges you. But progress is not always forward movement. Sometimes progress is taking a running start. Have you seen a long jumper? Before jumping, he moves backward. He moves away from the sandpit. Is he quitting the competition? No. He is looking for space to run and generate inertia. Your current regression is your running start for the leap. Great empires, great fortunes, and great works of art are almost always born after a period of brutal regression. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company, Apple. Massive regression, public humiliation. But in that regression, in that desert, he founded Pixar and Next. He accumulated new wisdom. He was preparing for his return. When he returned to Apple, he didn't return walking, he returned flying. And he led the company to be the most valuable in the world. That leap would not have been possible without the fall. The fall broke his arrogance and released his creativity. If you are in regression now, smile. You are in the garage phase, you are gaining momentum. Hooke's law, metaphysics. There is a law in physics called Hooke's law, which describes elasticity. It says that the force with which a spring returns to its original position is proportional to the distance it has been stretched. Translated into metaphysics, the magnitude of your future success is proportional to your current struggle. If your problem is small, your bounce will be small. If your problem is gigantic, you've ended up on the street. Your bounce has the potential to be gigantic. The The size of your shadow, your pain, defines the size of your light, your power. Therefore, never pity someone in a great crisis. Respect them. They are being initiated. Life does not bother the mediocre with devastating crises. It leaves the mediocre in their lukewarm mediocrity. Great crises are reserved for great souls who have the capacity to endure the tension and turn it into gold. You are a chosen one of pressure. If the universe is pressing you hard, it's because it knows you are a diamond. The breaking point. Let's talk about the darkest moment. The moment when the rubber band is stretched to the maximum. You feel like you are going to break. Psychologically, it is the moment of the surrender of the ego. You no longer have strategies. You no longer have tricks. You have prayed, fought, cried, and nothing works. You are against the ropes. That is the breaking point. And it is the most sacred moment of the process. Why? Because that is where the shell of your old identity breaks. Your old self, the one that created the crisis or cannot solve it, has to die so that the new self, the one that can fly, is born. It is painful, it feels like death, but it is birth. But just after the breaking point, the shot occurs. Suddenly the tension is released, a magical solution appears, or a deep understanding, or a supernatural force invades you, and you are shot forward. The speed with which things change after the breaking point is dizzying. You can go from absolute depression to the top in months. It is the V-shaped recovery. Free fall, touching bottom, explosive bounce. Do not fear the breaking point. It is the trampoline. It is the necessary collapse before the reconstruction. When you feel you can't go on, remember that you are at the very edge of the release. The universe is about to let go of the string. Be ready. Aiming the arrow, intention in chaos. But there is a crucial warning. A tensioned bow without direction is a dangerous weapon. If you release the string without aiming, the arrow can go anywhere or stick into your own foot. Many go through terrible crises and do not shoot toward success. They shoot toward resentment, bitterness, or illness. You must choose your target now. The difference is the aim. While you are being dragged backward in the middle of a crisis, you have an obligation. Keep your eyes on the goal. Do not look at the ground. Do not look back at the past you lost. Look at where you want to go. Even if you are broke, visualize wealth. Even if you are sick, visualize health. Focus your mind. Even if you are alone, visualize love. Your vision acts as the rudder of the arrow. The energy of the crisis, the pain, is the fuel. Your vision is the direction. Pain plus vision, propulsion. However, pain plus complaint hurt destruction. You have to use the energy of rage, sadness, and despair to feed your vision of the future. Tell yourself, I'm going to use this pain to build an empire so big that no one will ever doubt me again. I'm going to use this loneliness to become someone so interesting that love seeks me out. Channel the brute force of the spring. Do not let it dissipate in sterile crying. Use the tension to reach the stars. You are the master. Fear of the void, the moment of release. There is a terrifying millisecond between the moment the archer releases the string and the moment the arrow begins to fly. It is the moment of weightlessness. You have lost the old, but you don't have the new yet. You are in the air. It is the vertigo of freedom. Many cling to the string at the last moment. They sabotage themselves. They sabotage their own release because they are afraid of the speed. They prefer the known tension of pain than the unknown speed of success. You have to let go. Letting go means forgiving those who hurt you, because if you carry resentment, you carry extra weight and fly less. Letting go means stopping your victim story. Choose life. Letting go means accepting that you will never be who you were again. Close your eyes, breathe, and say, fly. Trust the momentum that has been built during your darkest hours. You are no longer tethered to the past. You are a projectile of destiny heading toward a magnificent future. Embrace the speed and the wind on your face. Time compression. The spring effect has a magical property. It compresses time. What would take a normal person, linear growth, 10 years to achieve, you can achieve in 1 year after a spring effect. Why? Because you have accumulated so much energy, wisdom, and hunger during the crisis that you move at a superior speed. You have become efficient. You have eliminated the fat. You have learned the essentials. You no longer waste time on nonsense. The crisis has focused you. A laser is focused light. A light bulb is scattered light. The crisis turns you into a laser. It cuts through steel. That is why we often see people who rise from the ashes and surpass everyone else in no time. Do not envy the one who has never fallen. Their speed is limited. You have fallen deep. Therefore, your terminal velocity will be sonic. The friction of your journey has tempered your soul and sharpened your resolve. You are moving with the power of the universe behind you, and nothing can stop an arrow that has been aimed by truth. The Phoenix archetype. This is not new, it is the oldest myth of humanity. The phoenix, the bird that does not die but sets itself on fire. It reduces itself to ashes in a total crisis, and from those ashes, a new bird emerges, younger, stronger, more golden. You are the phoenix. But the phoenix has to accept the fire, it has to accept being burned. If the phoenix fled from the fire, it would age and die like a normal bird. Its immortality resides in its ability to self-destruct and reconstruct. Do not be afraid of being burned. What burns is your ego, your fears, your limitations. Your essence is fireproof. You will emerge from the fire lighter, and what is light flies higher. The advantage of hitting rock bottom. J.K. Rowling, before writing Harry Potter, was divorced, alone, poor and depressed. She said in a famous speech, "Rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life." The bottom has an advantage. You can't fall any further. The fear of falling ends. You are finally free from the anxiety of the descent. It is over. When you lose the fear of falling, because you are already on the ground, you become fearless. You have nothing to lose. And he who has nothing to lose is dangerous. He is free. He can risk everything. He can bet big. That audacity is what generates massive success. Comfortable people play not to lose. You play to win big. Use your bottom as a concrete platform. Push off with your feet. The only way from the bottom is up. Your current position is not your destination. It is your launching pad. Every tear you shed is now a drop of fuel for your ascent. Stand up with the strength of someone who has nothing to fear and watch as the world makes way for you. Anti-fragile resilience. Nassim Taleb speaks of the anti-fragile. The fragile breaks with the blow. The robust endures the blow. The anti-fragile improves with the blow. The spring effect makes you anti-fragile. A bone that breaks and heals is stronger at the point of fracture. A psyche that breaks and reconstructs is immune to nonsense. You are better now. You become tougher, but also more compassionate. You understand pain, therefore you can lead others. Your capacity to withstand pressure increases. Where others get stressed, you laugh, because you have been to hell and come back with a souvenir t-shirt. This capacity is the most valuable asset in the uncertain modern world. How to manage the tension phase. Practical guide. If you are right now in the tension phase, being dragged backward, here is your operations manual. 1. Do not resist. Do not try to run forward while the string pulls back. You will burn your hands and get tired. Let yourself be carried back. Accept the temporary regression. 2. Maintain posture. Like the archer. Stand straight. Keep your back straight and eyes forward. Do not collapse into a fetal position. Maintain dignity in defeat. 3. Visualize the target. Spend 10 minutes every day visualizing where you are going to land. Do not look at the mud you are in. Look at the peak you are going to. 4. Accumulate resources. While you are back, study and train. Sharpen the tip of the arrow, so when you are released, you are ready to pierce. 5. Trust the archer. The archer is your higher self, or life. It is not stretching you to torture you. It is stretching you because it wants you to go further than ever. Trust its hand. Trust its aim. You are being prepared for the greatest flight of your life. Reverse imposter syndrome. When the leap occurs, when you are suddenly flying high and success arrives fast, you will feel vertigo. You will feel that you don't deserve it, that it has been too fast. Yesterday I was in the mud and today I'm in the palace. You will remember the mud and be afraid of returning. Do not look down, look forward. You belong here. You have paid the price through the law of compensation. That pain you lived was the payment. Your success is not free. It is prepaid with your tears and your anguish. Accept it, enjoy it, You have earned it. Do not sabotage yourself thinking it is too good to be true. It is true because it is physics. Tension equals propulsion. So, wounded brother, tired sister, if you feel that life is tearing you apart, if you feel that you are in the worst moment of your history, get ready, adjust the belt, put on the helmet, because the countdown has begun. 3, 2, 1. The string is going to be released. The inertia is going to be reversed. You are going to fly. You are going to fly so high and so fast that a year from now you will look back at this moment of pain and say, "Thank you. Thank you, blessed crisis. Thank you for forcing me to regress, because if you hadn't, I would never have had the strength to jump this abyss. The spring is loaded, you are the arrow, aim at the stars and let go." Chapter 9, Breaking the Cycle. Have you ever had the haunting feeling that you are living a movie you have already seen? The actors change, the scenery changes, the costumes change. But the script is identical. You divorce a toxic partner because they controlled you. You swore never again. 2 years later, you find yourself in a relationship with someone else. At first, they seemed like an angel, but now they control you exactly like the previous one. You leave a job because your boss did not value you. You find another promising job. 6 months later, you feel the same lack of valuation. You earn money, you lose it, you earn it again, and you lose it again in the same absurd way. It is a loop. It is the karmic déjà vu. It is the feeling of running very fast only to always arrive at the same place. The ego despairs. Why does this always happen to me? Am I cursed? Do I have bad luck? It is not a curse. It is geometry. You are trapped in a circle. And the law of rhythm, if not intervened by a vertical force, is circular. The pendulum goes back and forth, tracing the same arc over and over again until infinity. If you limit yourself to flowing with the rhythm without elevating your consciousness, you are condemned to eternal repetition. You will be a hamster on a cosmic wheel, aging without evolving. Welcome to Chapter 9. Today we are going to break the wheel. We are going to discover that life does not have to be circular. It can be a spiral. We are going to learn how to make the octave jump. We are going to stop solving problems at the level they were created, which is impossible. And we are going to learn to rise to a level where those problems simply cease to exist. You are ready to ascend. The geometry of condemnation, the circle. Let's analyze the trap. The universe is a pedagogically perfect school. Its teaching system is based on repetition until mastery. If life presents you with a lesson, and you fail the lesson, life does not say, "Well, it doesn't matter, let's move on." Life says, "The student has not learned, let us repeat the lesson." It is a cycle, and it sends you the same situation, perhaps with a subtler or more aggressive disguise, to see if this time you catch it. If you fail again, the circle closes and starts over. This is called recurrence. Nietzsche called it the eternal return. If you change nothing inside you, you are condemned to live this same life forever. The circle is the geometry of mechanical nature. Seasons repeat, planets orbit, animals eat, sleep, and reproduce in identical cycles. But you are not just an animal. You have a spark of divinity that demands novelty. Your soul suffocates in the circle. Your soul wants to ascend. Chronic suffering is the cry of your soul for change. The theory of musical octaves. To understand how to leave the trap, let's look at music. The musical scale has 7 notes: do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si. When you reach the end, what happens? You return to do. But it is not the same do. It is a do from a higher octave. It vibrates at twice the frequency. It sounds the same, but it is sharper, finer, more elevated. Life works. Life works by octaves. You can be living the archetype of economic struggle in a low octave, poverty, debt, fear of not eating. Or you can live the archetype of economic struggle in a high octave, managing large investments, philanthropy, business expansion challenges. The note is the same, but the music is totally different. Breaking the cycle does not mean things stop happening to you. It means higher quality things happen to you. In the low octave, a betrayal destroys you for 10 years. In the middle octave, it hurts, but you learn. In the high octave, a betrayal is seen as a necessary release of someone who did not vibrate with you, and you are grateful. The event occurred in all 3 cases. But in the high octave, it generated no suffering or karma. It generated freedom. Your goal is to move up the octave. You must consciously decide to change your internal response to external stimuli. By doing so, you alter your frequency and literally shift into a new dimension of experience. Escape velocity. How do you climb an octave? Here is the problem. Inertia pulls downward. The gravity of the circle is immense. Your habits, your environment, your family, your own neurochemistry, everything conspires to keep you in the low do. To jump orbits like a space rocket, you need to reach escape velocity. You need an injection of extra energy. You need a conscious shock. The universe will not level you up automatically. The universe pushes you forward in time, but not upward in consciousness. You have to push upward, and that requires an unnatural effort. It requires going against your robotic programming. If your automatic pattern is to scream, the script is written. If at that precise moment you feel the anger rising, but you apply neutralization, you bite your tongue, breathe and respond with silence or love. Crack! A sound is heard in the matrix. You have broken the record. You have done something that was not in the program. You have introduced a new variable. That is the conscious shock. And that energy you did not use to scream becomes the fuel that propels you to the next octave. Every time you break a mechanical reaction, you climb a step. You are no longer a machine reacting to triggers. You are a conscious being choosing your state. This is the only way to gain the momentum required to leave the old circle. Identifying the pattern, guardian of the threshold. You cannot escape a prison you do not see. The first step for the jump is ruthless observation. You have to identify your master pattern. We all have one. It is your recurring musical theme. Is it abandonment? Is it injustice? Is it betrayal? Is it scarcity? Look at your life coldly. What is the flavor that repeats in all your dishes? That is your guardian of the threshold. It is the final boss of the video game at this level. You cannot pass to the next level until you defeat that monster. And you do not defeat it by fighting it. That gives it strength. You defeat it by stopping your reaction to it. If your pattern is people who don't respect me, it will continue. Life will send you disrespectful people until Judgment Day. The day someone is disrespectful, and you, instead of being offended, look at them with compassion, set a firm limit, and continue your day happy and calm. That day the monster dissolves. It no longer has food, your reaction was its food. By not reacting, the lesson is past. Magically, disrespectful people disappear from your reality, or if they appear, they are invisible to you. You have jumped an octave. You have moved into a space where that specific vibration can no longer reach you. You are free from the old hook, and the universe acknowledges your mastery by providing a new, higher set of challenges. The spiral versus the circle. Visualize a spring seen from above. It looks like a circle. But if you look at it from the side, you see it rises. The spiral is the circle with an added dimension, elevation. In the spiral, you pass through the same coordinates, but at a different height. That's why sometimes you feel like you are repeating a problem. You see it again. Gosh, I'm having money problems again. But if you look closely, you will see it is not the same as 5 years ago. 5 years ago, you wanted to kill yourself over it. Today, you are just worried, but you know you will get out. You have passed through the same vertical coordinate, but you are higher. That is progress. Do not punish yourself. Do not punish yourself thinking you have regressed. You are revisiting the subject to see if any residues remain. It is a review exam. Greet it. Hello, old friend money problem. I see you, but I am no longer afraid of you. I look at you from above. Perspective changes everything. What looks like a giant wall from the ground is smoke. What looks like a giant wall from the ground looks like a line drawn on the floor from a plane. By maintaining your elevation, you minimize the power of the cycle. You are moving upward, and while the theme may recur, your capacity to handle it grows exponentially. Trust the spiral nature of your growth. You are always ascending. The law of resonance, changing the dial. To make the octave jump, you must understand that your reality is not solid. It is a radio broadcast. If you are tuned into the frequency of complaint and poverty, you are going to hear songs of complaint and poverty. You cannot hear classical music on that station. You can try to clean the radio, but if you don't move the dial, it's same. Changing your external life without changing your internal frequency is useless. You take the station with you. You move to Paris thinking you will be happy there, but in Paris, you are still tuned to the same old frequency, so you find misery in French. The octave jump is a dial change. It is moving from AM to FM. It is an internal shift. How is it done? Through the assumption of the new state. You have to start vibrating in the new octave before reality gives you reasons to do so. You have to feel respected before you are respected. You have to feel abundant while paying debts. This cognitive dissonance, feeling what you do not see, is what forces the dial to move. At first there is static. The old and new realities mix. It is a period of chaos. Endure it. Keep tuning into the new frequency. Suddenly the signal clears, and a new music begins to play in your life. The world around you has no choice but to resonate with the new note you are sounding. You have successfully changed your broadcast, sacrificing the old skin. Here comes the painful part of the jump. You cannot carry your old luggage to the new octave. To go up, you have to let go of weight, and sometimes that weight is people. If you make an octave jump and your lifelong friends stay in the low octave, complaint, vices, stagnation, vibratory dissonance will occur. You no longer fit. Their conversations bore or drain you. Your glow bothers them. You will try to save them or pull them up. It will not work. Gravity is stronger than you. If you try to lift someone who does not want to go up, they will drag you down. You have to be willing to walk alone for a while. The void between two octaves is a lonely zone. You have left the old, but you have not yet found your new tribe. It is the desert. Many, out of fear of loneliness, go back down. They return to the known circle. I'd rather be in bad company than alone. That is the grave of evolution. If you have the courage to walk alone and hold your new high note, the universe will bring you home. By the law of resonance, the universe will inevitably bring you to the new tribe. People will appear who vibrate in your new octave, and those relationships will be healthier, richer, and more expansive than the previous ones. But you have to let go of the old shore to reach the new one. Trust the process of social and personal pruning. Pain is a scent fuel. Gurdjieff said that suffering can be voluntary or involuntary. Involuntary, mechanical suffering is circular. You complain, suffer, do not learn, and repeat. It is a waste of energy. Voluntary, conscious suffering is the fuel for the jump. It is the pain of discipline. It is the pain of biting your tongue. It is the pain of facing fear. It is the pain of killing your old self. When you use pain consciously, I'm going to use this crisis to grow. It transmutes. Lead turns into gold. Gravity becomes rocket fuel. Instead of saying, "Why me?" you say, "What is this for? What spiritual muscle does life want me to develop?" It is a shift from victim to student. The moment you find the what for, suffering ceases to be suffering and becomes training. You are using the very force that tries to pull you down as the pressure needed to launch you higher. Every difficult moment is a gift of energy, provided you have the wisdom to channel it upward instead of dissipating it in complaint. Discomfort is the compass. How do you know if you are about to make a jump? Because you feel tremendously uncomfortable. The comfort zone is the circle. It is the known. The edge of the spiral is unknown territory. It is scary. If you feel fear, vertigo, and resistance, good, you are on the edge. The ego will tell you, "Go back, it's cold there, you don't know." The soul says, "Jump, your wings only open in the fall." If your life is too comfortable, too predictable, and too safe, you are probably trapped in a cycle. Living life is insecure. Seek deliberate discomfort. Do things that scare you. Speak in public. Launch that business. Say, "I love you" first. Be the pioneer of your life. That friction is the spark that starts the engine of the jump. By leaning into the discomfort, you signal to the universe that you are ready for a larger life. The spiral only expands when you push against the boundaries of your current container. Embrace the unease as the labor pains of the new version of yourself being born. The critical mass effect. The octave jump does not happen gradually. It happens all at once. It is like boiling water. You heat the water, 20 degrees, 50 degrees, 90 degrees, 99 degrees. It is still water. It seems like nothing is happening. It is still liquid. But you add one more degree, 100 degrees. Suddenly a phase change occurs, the water is gone. The water ceases to be water and becomes steam. It changes state. It changes dimension, it expands. Your spiritual work is to keep the heat, keep meditating, keep neutralizing, keep visualizing, keep acting with integrity. It seems like nothing is happening. It seems like your external reality is not changing. You are at 99. The ego says, leave it, this doesn't work. Do not stop. You are 1 degree away from boiling. If you persist, you will reach critical mass. And one day, you will wake up and everything will have changed. You will have changed. And because you have changed, your world will be unrecognizable. The jump is final and absolute once reached. The infinite spiral. Does this ever end? Do we reach a final octave where there are no more challenges and everything is perfect? No, and thank God for that. Evolution is infinite. The source is infinite. There is always a higher octave. When you become a master at managing your emotions, perhaps the next level is mastery in healing others, and then mastery in the creation of worlds. But do not be overwhelmed by the goal. Enjoy the expansion. Each jump brings you more freedom, more power, more love, and more joy. The game becomes more fun at high levels. In the low levels, the game is survive. It is stressful and painful. You are just trying to get by there. In the high levels, the game is create. It is playful and fascinating. Your goal is to reach the level of conscious creator. You are moving from a world of effects to a world of causes. The higher you go, the more the laws of the universe work with you rather than against you. Enjoy the climb, the view gets better with every turn. The responsibility of the one who jumps. When you make the jump, you become a lighthouse. Your mere presence in a higher octave helps others to rise. You do not need to preach. Your vibration does the work. Breaking the cycle in your own life breaks the cycle in your lineage. Your parents and grandparents perhaps could not break the cycle of poverty or abuse. You can. You break it. And by breaking it, you free your children and your grandchildren from having to repeat it. The octave jump is the greatest act of love you can do for your family and for humanity. One who heals, heals everyone. You are clearing the path for generations yet to come by refusing to walk the old broken circle yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror. That one you see there has been going around in circles for too long. They have been stumbling over the same stones, crying the same tears. Tell them, it's over. Tell them, today we change the music. Decide, here and now, that you are not going to react mechanically to the next test. Be the master. Decide that you are going to surprise the universe. Decide that you are going to do the unexpected, the elevated, the bold. Decide to go up. The door to the stairs is open. You only have to let go of the hand of your past to grab the railing of your future. You are no longer a victim of circular fate. You are the architect of your spiral. Chapter 10, The Eye of the Hurricane. We live dizzy lives. That is the word that best defines the modern human experience, vertigo. Everything changes at a terrifying speed. Technology changes, the economy changes, fashions change, relationships change. What is true today is a lie tomorrow. What is safe today is smoke tomorrow. It is a constant rush of information. We spend our lives running, trying to hold on to something solid. We seek security in money, but the market fluctuates. We seek security in people, but people die or leave. We seek security in our own body, but the body ages. It is like trying to stand on a rotating platform that accelerates more and more every second. It's a struggle. The centrifugal force pushes you outward, toward the edge, toward the abyss. And you, desperate, run faster, trying not to fall. You are exhausted. Your soul is fatigued from so much movement, from so much adaptation, from so much forced flowing. You feel that if you stop for a single second, the world will crush you instantly. I have good news and bad news. The bad news is that the platform is not going to stop. The law of rhythm is eternal. The universe is dance and constant movement. You will never find stability out there in the world of forms. The good news is that there is a place, a single geometric point in the universe that does not move. A place where time, rhythm, and oscillation do not exist. A place of absolute silence and infinite power. And that place is not on a mountain in Tibet. That place is inside you. Moreover, that place is you. Welcome to Chapter 10. Today we are going to stop running. Today we are going to walk toward the center of the wheel. We are going to discover the final secret of the great masters. To control movement, you must be still. We are going to become the immovable pivot. We are going to enter the eye of the hurricane. We will reclaim the power of being the master of the storm rather than its victim. The center of all things is calling you back home now. The anatomy of the wheel. Visualize a bicycle wheel spinning at great speed. Observe its parts. You have the tire, the periphery. It is the part that touches the ground, the one that gets dirty, wears out, and spins at hundreds of kilometers per hour. If you were an insect stuck to the tire, your life would be a hell of vertigo, blows, and nausea. It's chaos. You have the spokes. They connect the periphery with the center. They move but slower the closer you get to the interior. And finally, you have the axle, the hub. Look at it closely. The entire wheel turns around it. The movement of the bicycle depends on it. But the axle, it does not turn. It stays in a state of absolute rest. The axle remains static. It supports the movement, allows the movement, but does not participate in the madness of the movement. It is the immovable pivot. Your life is that wheel. The periphery is your external circumstances, your job, your bank account, politics, the weather, the opinion of others. Out there, the rhythm is violent. Out there, one day you are rich, another poor. One day you are loved, another hated. If you live your identity in the periphery, believing you are what happens to you, you will live in the hell of rhythm. You will be crushed by the centrifugal force. The axle is your being, your pure consciousness. The I am, it is your eternal essence. The problem of humanity is that we live exiled in the periphery. We have forgotten the path to the center. We believe we are the tire, and that is why we suffer. Because the tire is designed to wear out, but the axle is eternal. Mastery over the law of rhythm is not about stopping the wheel, but shifting your identity to the center. The discovery of the witness, Sakshi. How do we reach the center? It is not a physical journey. It is a journey of attention. It requires activating a faculty that has been dormant, the witness. In Vedanta philosophy, it is called Sakshi. It is the part of you that observes but does not judge or react. Try it right now. Feel an emotion, let's say anxiety, observe it. Normally you say, I am anxious. You have merged with the periphery. Now take a mental step back, observe the anxiety, see how it manifests. Pressure in the chest, fast thoughts, cold hands. Ask yourself, if I can observe the anxiety, then I am not the anxiety. The observer cannot be the observed, just as the eye cannot see itself. If you can see it, it is not you. You are that which looks. You are the screen where the movie is projected. In the movie, there can be a fire, but the screen does not burn. In the movie, there can be a flood, but the screen does not get wet. The screen is the immovable pivot. It remains pristine regardless of the drama shown upon it. When you practice this constantly, a disidentification occurs. You stop being Juan, the one with money problems. You become the consciousness observing Juan having an experience of scarcity. It sounds like a word game, but the vibratory difference is abysmal. In the first case, you are a victim. In the second, you are the pilot. In the second case, you are God experiencing humanity. From the center, the rhythm is seen as a fascinating spectacle, not as a personal threat. You can watch the rise and fall of tides with curiosity rather than fear. You are anchored in a reality that precedes and survives all temporary movements of the mind and the external world. The eye of the storm. The meteorological metaphor is perfect. A hurricane is the most destructive force in nature. Winds of 300 km/h that rip up houses and trees. But at the exact center of the hurricane, there is a circle a few kilometers wide called the eye. Pilots who have flown inside the eye report something incredible. There is total peace there. There is no wind. The air is still. Often the sun shines and the stars are visible. Birds fly calmly. It is a sanctuary of peace surrounded by a wall of violence. You have that eye inside you. You do not have to create it. It is already there. It has always been there. Even in your worst crisis, a part of you was looking on with calm. There was a part of you that knew you were going to survive. That part is your spirit. The goal of spiritual life is not to stop hurricanes, problems. Hurricanes are part of the Earth's climate, rhythm. The goal is to live in the eye, to be able to walk in the midst of office chaos and carry with you a portable atmosphere of silence, to be untouchable, not through cold indifference but through vibratory stability. When you are in the eye, the external winds can howl all they want, but they cannot reach the core of your being. You become a lighthouse of stability for others who are still being tossed around by the storm. Your presence alone becomes a sanctuary. Archimedes' paradox, the fulcrum. Archimedes said the most important phrase in mechanical physics: "Give me a place to stand, and I will move the world." To move something heavy, you need a lever. But the lever is useless if it does not have a fulcrum, a support point, that remains still. If the support point moves, the lever fails. You must find your own fulcrum. To move your life, which is heavy, you need a support point that does not move. If your support point is your money, it moves. If it is your partner, it moves. If it is your mood, it moves. That is why it is so hard for you to change your reality. Because you try to move the world while leaning on quicksand, it is impossible. The only solid support point is your inner center. When you operate from the immovable pivot, your will becomes steel. Your intention becomes a laser. You have traction. The man or woman acting from absolute calm has a strength 100 times superior to that of the frantic man. The frantic one scatters energy. The centered one channels it. The samurai knew this. The one who screams most or moves fastest does not win. The one with the still mind, mushin or no mind, wins. Because from stillness, he sees the enemy's movement in slow motion. He can anticipate every strike and react with effortless precision, because he is not reacting to the chaos but acting from the center. Holy indifference. By anchoring yourself in the center, you develop a quality that mystics call holy indifference. Do not confuse this with apathy or a lack of love. Apathy is, "I don't care about anything because I am depressed." Holy indifference is, "I care about everything. I love everything, but I need nothing specific to be at peace." It is freedom. It is equanimity. It is the ability to look at the pendulum when it rises, success, and say, "Good," and look at the pendulum when it falls, failure, and say, "Good." You do not prefer one thing over the other with desperation. You accept what the present moment brings. This attitude makes you invulnerable to suffering and to pain. Suffering is born from resistance. I don't want this to happen. I want this to last forever. If you eliminate neurotic preference, you eliminate pain. You become a king who accepts all messengers entering his court, whether they bring news of victory or defeat, without losing composure. You remain the master of your own kingdom, silence as a weapon. In a noisy world, silence is the greatest demonstration of power. Observe true leaders, true masters. They are silent. They speak little. They move slowly. They do not need to fill the void with noise because they are not afraid of the void. They are comfortable in the center. The neurotic speaks non-stop, justifies, explains, and runs. The neurotic is in the periphery, terrified by centrifugal force. Practice strategic silence. When chaos breaks out around you, an argument, a crisis, do the opposite of what everyone expects. Be quiet. Stop physically. Breathe. Connect with your axle. In that moment, you become the thermostat of the room. You set the temperature. Everyone else is a thermometer. They react to the temperature. If there is shouting, they shout. You are the thermostat. You regulate it. Your silence is so dense, so charged with presence, that it absorbs the noise of others. People calm down around you without knowing why. They feel your gravity. They feel you have found ground. Being the eye of the hurricane is the greatest service you can do for your family and your team. In the midst of the storm, you are the harbor. By remaining unmoved, you provide a reference point of sanity that allows others to find their own way back to the center. Your stillness is a magnetic force that restores order to the chaos. The refuge of verticality. Let's return to the dimensional cross. The pendulum moves on the horizontal line, time, past, future. It goes from left to right. The pivot is the vertical line, eternal now. The pendulum needs time to exist. It needs a narrative. Before I was fine, now I am bad. I hope tomorrow is better. The pivot lives outside of time completely. In the absolute now, there is no oscillation. There is only being. When you feel the rhythm hit you, do not try to fix it in time. Tomorrow I will solve it. Step out of time, enter verticality, concentrate on your breath, feel your hands, feel life beating in your chest now. In this precise nanosecond, is there any problem? No, not what you think of the problem, but the problem itself. In this instant of pure perception, there is only silence. That is your refuge. It is an invisible bunker you can access in the middle of a meeting, in a traffic jam, or in a hospital. No one knows you have entered, but you know you are safe. You are in the vertical sanctuary, the death of fear. Fear lives exclusively in the periphery. Fear is always a projection toward the future. What if this happens, or a trauma from the past? I don't want it to repeat. Fear needs movement to survive. In the immovable center, fear suffocates. It cannot breathe. Because in the center, only present reality exists. It is manageable. You can handle the fact of being broke at this moment. You look for food. You look for shelter. What you cannot handle is the idea of being broke for the next 10 years. That is periphery. That is imagination. The immovable pivot returns you to immediate reality, where you have power of action. You are no longer a slave to a ghost. It takes away the paralysis of catastrophic imagination. You become brave not because you force yourself to be, but because you have eliminated the psychological time where the monster lives. Without the before and after, the monster has nowhere to hide. You face each moment as it arises with the full power of your presence. Becoming the pivot, daily practice. This is not theory. You have to train it. Your mind is addicted to movement. You have to detoxify it. 1. The sacred pause. 3 times a day, stop everything. Set an alarm. For 1 minute, do nothing. Do not look at your phone. Do not think. Just feel your axle. Feel the world spinning while you are still. Reconnect with the core. The defocused gaze. When walking down the street, slightly defocus your sight. Look at the big picture. Do not fix on specific objects. This induces an alpha brainwave state. It puts you in observer mode. 3. Anchoring in chaos. When someone is shouting, visualize a column of golden light through your spine. Be the mountain. Let their words be wind. The mountain does not argue with the wind. The mountain waits for the wind to pass. Integration, moving without moving. The final goal is not to stay catatonic in meditation. The goal is action in inaction, wei wu wei. It is carrying the pivot with you to the market and to every single corner of your life. It is negotiating $1 million contract with the calm of a Zen monk. It is raising your children with the patience of a tree. It is dancing at a party, moving your body, periphery, to the music, but keeping your mind, axle, in crystalline stillness. It is the supreme paradox. You are totally involved and totally detached. You play the game with passion, but you know it is a game. If you win, you laugh. If you lose, you laugh. Because you know you are not the piece on the board. You are the player. This dual consciousness allows you to enjoy life to the fullest without the burden of taking it all too seriously. You are the master of the cosmic play, the promise of stability. If you cultivate this axle, you will become a magnet. The world is so desperate for stability that when it finds someone who is stable, it sticks to them. People will want to be near you. Your children will feel safe. Your partner will relax. Your clients will trust. They won't be able to explain it. They will say you have energy. That energy is the gravity of being. By ceasing to oscillate, you have become massive. You have become real. In a world of scared ghosts running after the wind, the real man is the king. You have completed the journey from being a victim hit by the pendulum to being the owner of the pendulum. You are now the center of your world. You have learned to neutralize, to compensate, to gestate in winter, to surf in summer, to breathe money, to dance with distance, and to jump octaves. And now, finally, you have found your home. The eye of the hurricane. That place where God and you meet and discover you are the same. You no longer have to fear the future at all. Come what may, whatever the rhythm brings, storms, droughts, abundance, or scarcity, you have a place to take refuge. You have an impregnable place. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. In that lies the peace of God. But the book cannot end here, because now that you have all this power, you have a new task. You now hold the baton of the conductor of the orchestra. You have the knowledge and the tools to direct the symphony of your own life. The final note is yours to play. How will you use this stillness? How will you manifest your divinity in the world of motion? The journey has reached its peak and the new world awaits your command. Conclusion: the orchestra conductor. Close your eyes for a moment and remember who you were when you started listening to this book. Remember the anxiety you felt in the face of changes. Remember the fear of winter, the despair at the drop in income, the panic at the distance of a loved one. Remember how you felt like a victim of invisible forces beyond your own control. You felt like a small paper boat hit by gigantic waves that you could not predict or control. Now open your eyes, metaphorically. The outside world has not changed. The sun continues to rise and set. The economy continues to fluctuate. The seasons continue to turn. But you have changed. You have ceased to be that paper boat. You have become the ocean. Throughout these chapters, we have dissected the machinery of the universe. We have seen the gears of the pendulum. We have understood the price of compensation. We have learned to use the elevator of neutralization. We discovered that winter is a gestation and that crisis is a spring. You are no longer ignorant. You are no longer innocent. You have the keys to the kingdom in your hands. And now with these keys you face the final question: how do you live the rest of your life with this knowledge? The final image I want to give you is that of a great concert hall. Life is an immense, cosmic and chaotic orchestra. You are the leader of it. In that orchestra there are sweet violins, joy, love, success. But there are also thundering drums, crisis, shock, war. There are melancholy oboes, sadness, grief, loneliness. And there are triumphal trumpets, victory, ecstasy, power. Until today, you were a frightened spectator in the front row. You only wanted the violins to play. When the violins played, you smiled. But when the dark drums or the sad oboes sounded, you covered your ears. You screamed, "I don't want to hear this. Let it stop. I only want violins." You spent your life resisting half of the music. You judged the symphony. You said the bass notes were a mistake, and that is why you suffered. You suffered because a symphony that only has high-pitched violins is unbearable and strident. It needs contrast. It needs silence. It needs darkness for the light to shine. Today, I invite you to step onto the podium. Take the baton. You are the orchestra conductor. The conductor is not afraid of sad music. He knows its deep purpose. The conductor knows it is necessary to give depth to the work. The conductor does not get attached to happy music. He knows it is a passing movement and that it will soon give way to another tempo. The conductor does not play the instruments. He manages the energy. He decides the tempo. He decides the intensity. He is the master of it. When life brings you a moment of low energy in winter, you as conductor do not cry. You simply lower the baton and signal an adagio, slow and majestic. You say, "Now we will play softly. Now we will rest." When life brings you a tsunami, summer, you raise the baton and signal an allegro vivace. You say, "Now we celebrate. Now we will play with fire. Now we will celebrate." You are no longer a victim of the sound. You are the creator of the harmony. Harmony is not that everything is good. Harmony is that everything, the good and the bad, is integrated into a higher order that has meaning and beauty. Your life is a masterpiece. It is your own art. But you can only see the beauty if you stop judging the individual notes and start listening to the entire song. Starting tomorrow, when you go out into the street, the pendulum will try to move you. It is its job. Gravity exists. Someone will insult you. A client will say no, an appliance will break. You will remember the truth. In the past, you would have reacted mechanically. You would have gone down into the mud. But tomorrow you will remember. You will remember that you have an immovable pivot at your center. You will remember that you can neutralize. You will smile. You will look the problem in the eye and say, "I see you. You are just a note. You are just a note in my symphony. You do not define me. You do not control me. You pass through me, but I remain." That smile, that is the smile of the Master. It is the smile of the Buddha. It is the smile of one who has discovered the trick. The trick is that the game is not about winning always. The game is about playing elegantly. It is about dancing with the rhythm, not fighting against it. You have learned to break vicious circles and turn them into spirals of evolution, octaves. You have learned that money is air that must be allowed to circulate. You have learned that love needs distance to breathe. You have learned that you are not your emotions or body. You are the eternal consciousness that has come to this school planet to learn a single subject, the rhythm. So, dear reader, dear conductor, the orchestra is waiting. The musicians, your days, your hours, your events, are attentive to your baton. Do not be afraid of the music. Play it all. Don't hold back. Use every single note. Play the high notes and the low ones. Play the pain and the pleasure. Because in the end, when the concert ends and the lights are lowered, death, you will not regret the mistakes made. You will regret the songs you did not dare to play for fear of being out of tune. Live intensely. Live rhythmically. Live centered. Choose it now. The pendulum moves, but you are free. You are the stillness that allows the motion to exist. You are the silence that allows the sound to be heard. You are the master of the swing. Go forth now, and conduct your life with the majesty of one who knows the law. The music is yours, the baton is in your hand. Play your symphony.